is a live presentation of CBC Sports.
It was the Canucks and Jets in Game 3, and white noise worked.
On the boards, Dave Babbage for Vancouver. Housley keeps it in, gets the shot away, they score! Salani. Shot scores! Housley, pass in front, chance for Salani, scores! Yuri Slager's shot is blocked, and here's a chance. A breakaway for Sato all alone, shoots, goal! Here's a chance. This is Salani all alone. Yes!
Will white noise prevail again? Game 4 tonight, this Smythe Division semifinal from Winnipeg, the Jets and the Vancouver Canucks. And inside, pandemonium prevails once again, just like Game 1. Winnipeg Jets fans in their favorite color of April white. The Jets want noise and they'll get it, and the fans here want something else in return. Good evening and welcome to Molson Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC. Still about 8 minutes to game time, and the fans here in Winnipeg geared up for this one. They want Don Cherry, so we decided we'd bring Don Cherry along with us. And Don, certainly the big story in game number 3 had to be the play of Teemu Selanne. Well, I'll tell you, Teemu Selanne, they talk about this guy, what being the Finnish Flash, the Finnish crash, Finnish flash in the pan. But I'll say this guy came through with 3 goals last game. What a performance. Ronnie, Jimmy, let's roll this one. This guy, Gary Volk, on him early, but look at the hit he puts on him. Talk about Cam Neely, Dougie Gilmore. This guy, one of the best players in the world, certainly the best player in the world with a visor. But don't count out the guy Vancouver's got, Trevor Linden. What a beauty he is. Don, certainly in the playoffs today, the big story had to be the Chicago Blackhawks being bounced in 4 straight games. What a shock for Daryl Sutter. What a shock for the Boston Bruins as well. Certainly Brian Sutter as well. Well, you got to feel sorry for the Sutter boys. Feel sorry for Brian Sutter, Daryl as well. What Boston needs, though, I think a few more Europeans. But I told you before this series, Grant Fuhrer, best goalie in the world, proving that again, but not maybe as good as this guy, Essena, who plays here. Well, Essens has a pretty good goalie, Don, but so is Kirk McLean for Vancouver. With their thoughts, let's go upstairs now, bring in Steve Armitage and John Garrett.
Thank you, Kenny. Hi, everyone. I don't think I've ever heard the coach so pumped or so enthusiastic about European players. John Garrett, I know one player the Grapes likes, and that's the Canucks' Trevor Linden.
And so does John Paddock, coach of the Winnipeg Jets. He said the most dominant player in this series has been Trevor Linden. He's been a physical presence. He's tried to get his team going with some big hits, and he's also scoring some goals. And Trevor Linden has a touch. He's not a great goal scorer, but he can really shoot the puck. And we saw it in Game 3. He had a pair there, the one on the power play. And Pavel Bure has been inconsistent. He has 5 points. But Pat Quinn has changed his centerman. He has Anatoly Semenov playing with Bure to try and get more consistent play out of Bure. But like Selanne, when Bure gets in by himself, he's one of the best goal scorers in the NHL, and he showed it in Game 3.
I know that Pat Quinn would like a lot more consistency from his power play. 2 for 17, not good.
And they've had some chances at key times in the game. Pat Quinn put Yuri Slager in the game in Game 3 to try and get his power play going. And Slager, his first playoff game, he didn't respond that well. And it'll be interesting to see what Pat Quinn does here in Game 4.
This is Game 4 from the arena in Winnipeg, where white noise will once again be a big factor. You're watching the playoffs on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC.
this Smythe Division semifinal between the Jets and Canucks. Vancouver winning game. Once again, we're about set to go for all the action. Let's go take you upstairs now, and here are John Garrett and Steve Armitage.
Thank you, Kenny. A sea of whites, and they call it white noise. And once again, the arena in Winnipeg is sold out. A capacity crowd for game number 4. Kirk McLean making his 4th straight start in goal in the playoffs for the Vancouver Canucks. So far, he has faced 73 shots. Now has a goals against of 3.02. Bob Essenza also making his 4th straight appearance for the Winnipeg Jets. His record 1-2 in this series, and so far he has faced 102 shots. The referee tonight, Paul Dvorsky. Gord Brossiger and Dan Shatsky will be working the lines in this one. Game 4 from the Winnipeg Arena. The Vancouver Canucks go into it, leading the series 2-1. And Murray Craven will start at center against Stu Barnes, and Craven gets the puck back into his own zone. Dana Merzen forced to go back behind Kirk McLean. Merzen leading the attack for the Canucks, dumps it in left side. Craven gets it to Gary Bach. Bach, pass in front is blocked. Teppo Numminen. And there's the first hit of the game. Tim Hunter sent sprawling by Teppo Numminen. This is Ty Domi. And Domi dumps it down. McLean forced to come out and play it off the glass. Opening seconds of the first period in game number 4. Teppo Numminen. This is King. King's pass in front comes back to Numminen. Numminen's shot, and it's blocked. Got caught up in the sweater of Murray Craven, and then Craven just dumps it through into the zone.
And Gary Volk did a good job. He lined up perfectly with Teppo Numminen, and Numminen had no choice but to play the puck right off Gary Volk.
Mike Lawler scoops it in, picked up by the Canucks' Dave Babbage. Borsato dumps it in. Canucks control and then shoot it out into the neutral zone. And Sergei Boutin touches it, and we get the first whistle of the game.
And the crowd still involved. Lots of good hits early in this one. Vancouver Canucks have made a few changes in their lineup. Dixon Ward, who played well this season, had 22 goals, gets in. And look at Anatoly Semenov is now playing with Borean Adams as Murray Craven drops down and plays on the checking line. They'd like to get more production out of Adams. You look at the defense pairings. Robert Dirk is not in the lineup, and the Canucks won't tell us what's the matter with him. Although he did have bruised ribs earlier in the year, missed 3 weeks. You look at their scratches, and you wonder about Dirk, whether it's those ribs acting up again or something else. During the playoffs, you never really know, Steve.
The face-off in the Canucks zone. It comes back to Sergei Boutin. He fires through traffic in front. He goes right through the crease. Dumped in. Steen behind the net leaves it there, and Ronning scoops it up for Vancouver. Plays it off the boards. Tkachuk for Winnipeg. Losing it to Ronning. Jets keep the pressure on. Borsato misfires on that shot. Played easily by Kirk McLean. Dumped in by the Jets. Dana Merzen plays it off the boards, looking for Trevor Linden. Comes right to Cliff Ronning. Ronning at center. Dumps it in. Linden there for the rebound. Couldn't control it. This is Jeff Courtnall. Courtnall at the Jets blue line. Trevor Linden. Good move. One move too many. Loses it to the Jets. Tkachuk tries to find Solani with a lead pass, but it was just too far. Linden for Cliff Ronning. Ronning, good pass to Adams. Shot, scores!
And during a line change, Greg Adams out with Linden and Ronning, and a nice pass as Adams came off the bench and he's wide open. Ronning with the pass to Adams, and look at Adams, who has struggled scoring goals, picks his spot and goes right through Bob Essence's leg. Phil Housley comes over trying to get at Adams, but Adams shields the puck before he shoots it, and he beats Essenza. A rolling puck. It's hard for a goalie to read, and Adams gets his second goal.
And that coming at 2:16, so the Vancouver Canucks jump in front of the Winnipeg Jets by a score of 1-0 in Game 3 here at the arena in Winnipeg. It was the Jets who opened the scoring with a couple of goals, and the Canucks were forced to come back.
Scored by number 8, Greg Adams. The assist number Cliff Ronning, and number 16, Trevor Linden.
Ronning and Linden drawing the assists on Greg Adams' second goal of the playoffs. And here's Bure working down the right side. Semenoff in the middle. Unloads with a shot, and it went through the pads of aluminum. Took some of the steam off it. Pass in front, and it's picked off by Jamnov. This is Phil Housley. Shoots it into the left corner. Diddick tries to find Bure with the pass too far. Butsy Eriksson. Played up on the left side for Davidoff. Eriksson passes behind looking for Davidoff. He overskated it. Shot into the corner. Davidoff. Eriksson and Babbage get tied up before they can get to the puck. This is Davidoff looking for somebody to pass to. Nobody there. Good pass in front from Davidoff. Sergei Boughton knocks that out of the air. This is Gary Vaughn and Peter Nedved in the Jet zone. Pass in front. Omesso with a quick shot, and Essenza has to be sharp to make the save. Canucks lead 1-0.
I'm feeling empty. I'm feeling blue. I know it's over, and I know it's through. Man, now that's the blues.
Next time you want to die a Pepsi, Ray, all you got to do is ask.
Now that's the right one, baby.
We got the lines and the brand new trim. Go see a dealer, take a spin. Trim a truck, it's for tough. No doubt you'll get the right stuff. You're gonna get what's good for your soul. You're dressed up and ready to roll.
Get your no-charge Trim a Truck package on Ranger and F-Series, plus cashback on F-Series during your Manitoba Ford and Mercury dealers Trim a Truck event.
John Paddock has to worry. The crowd's still involved, but should the Canucks get another early goal, that will take a little of the white noise out of this building. Right now, they're still in it, and he has to hope that his team bounces back.
Craven on the face-off against Stu Barnes, coming from the face-off circle to the right of Bob Essenza, and the Winnipeg goal. Puck cleared to the corner. Dixon Ward on this line for the Canucks. Ward making his first ever Stanley Cup playoff appearance. This is Barnes. Passes in front. Nobody there. Olesen to Dean Kennedy, Jets captain. Ward got a piece of it. And it's flipped in high. McLean has to glove it. Dixon Ward plays it high into the neutral zone. Kennedy had trouble spotting it. Ty Domi overskates it. Barnes just shoots it in. Domi still has it. Gets the shot away, and it's high. Goes off the glass. Murray Craven to Yuri Slager. This is King. Has Domi on his left. Domi with a nice move to get around Jyrki Lume. Fans were calling for a penalty. No call from Paul Dvorsky. This is Jeff Courtnall. Courtnall couldn't get it to Linden. Ronning is there. Over to Courtnall. Courtnall with the shot. That's wide. And it comes all the way along the boards and down into the Canucks zone.
And Paul Dvorsky has let a lot go early, but here's going to be a penalty on Jeff Courtnall. A high sticking penalty against Chris King behind the play, and I think the Canucks had a feel that Dvorsky wasn't going to call anything. And Courtnall goes off for high sticking.
John, that was well away from the play. The play was down on the left side, and that took place on the left side of the ice in the Jet zone.
Now you can see Pat Quinn now is saying to Trevor Linden, okay, go over and ask about some of the other stuff that you've let go.
If you've just joined us, Steve Armitage along with John Garrett in the broadcast booth. We've got Kenny Daniels down in the studio. This is game 4.
You look at the Winnipeg Lions, the same as last game. Why fool with success? Brian Eriksson is in as Igor Ulanov is out. Eriksson back into the lineup in Game 3. He had a very strong game.
14:48 to play, opening period. Canucks in front, 1-0 on a goal from Greg Adams. And the Canucks had their penalty killing unit out there. And it comes all the way down into the Jets zone. Olofsson and Housley are on the point. Solani, one of the forwards, along with Shannon and Jamlock. And that's offside at the Canucks blue line.
Canucks doing a good job standing up, and you talk about the Jets' power play and how big it has been against Vancouver this year. 11 of their 26 goals scoring during the regular season were on the power play. Darren Shannon getting to play on the power play. He plants himself in front of the net. A couple of big assists, Darren Shannon, last night, especially on the Solani breakaway. He picked off the pass and spotted Solani breaking up the middle and hit him with a good, hard, crisp pass.
And the face-off drawn back into the Canucks zone. Jyrki Lumme is there, and he's able to clear it easily. Essenza forced to play it and leave it for Phil Housley, the Jets quarterback, on the power play. Shoots from well out, and then goes off Merzen. Here's Solani. Solani with a wide open man at the side. Housley with a shot that's wide. Jamlock was wide open, but he couldn't get the pass from Teemu Solani. Pass in front. Well, that was close from McLean. Just got a stick on it. Olofsson to Housley. 47 seconds remaining in the Canuck penalty. Pass out to the point. Olofsson back into the corner to Solani. Had the hat trick for the Jets in Game 3.
Again, the Jets trying to get too cute on the power play. Solani had a great scoring chance and tried to pass it across to Jamnock.
This is Housley leading the attack for the Jets. Broken up neatly by the Canucks captain Trevor Linden. Olofsson. Jets having difficulty getting organized now. 14 seconds remaining in the power play for Winnipeg. Babbage does well, but it's Tkachuk who comes off the boards, gets it back to Newman, and Newman misfired. Back to Housley. Solani with the shot. Big save by Kirk McLean. Now 2-on-1 for the Canucks. This is Trevor Linden, and he tried to pass to Courtnall, and it was broken up. And now the Jets come back. This is Solani at the blue line. For Steen, back to Tkachuk. Shot saved by Kirk McLean. He robbed Thomas Steen. 1-0. Canucks lead. 12:33 to play, opening period.
For those who like to spend lots of time and effort cleaning, shining, and protecting your tires, this is going to be difficult to watch. Because with no-touch tire care, you don't need to rub or wipe your tires to make them look great. It's true. You just spray it on and leave it alone. No touching. Now, we know it's hard, but you've got to fight it. Come on, you can do it. That's good. No-touch tire care. The right touch is no touch.
Puma. It's here. Premier wild oat and green foxtail control with the widest window of application from the 1 to 6 leaf stage up to emergence of the third tiller. The freedom to tank mix for nearly every broadleaf weed under the sun. The flexibility to spray your spring wheat or durum. That's new post-emergent Puma from Herbst. More power to you.
Talked about Kirk McLean's ability to read the play. He knows Solani's there. He gets over, stacks the pads, and makes a save. And a save on Thomas Steen is the same variety. He knows Steen is beside the net. Look at, he can see Steen. He's there before the pass gets there. And that's the only way you can make that save, is reading the play.
Face-off in the Canucks zone. Lawler just puts it on net, turned aside by McLean. This is Davidoff. Gary Bach. Adams finds Courtnall. Courtnall tries to get by Lawler, and he couldn't. Good play by Lawler. And then Eagles mixing it up on the boards with Gary Bach. Slager can't get to it. Davidoff does. Davidoff working against Lidster. Tim Hunter, who has a Stanley Cup ring with the Calgary Flames, loses it. Slater behind the net. Lidster slaps it along the boards. This is Greg Adams, who has the only goal in the game for the Canucks. Hutter to Vaught. Vaught couldn't get the shot away. Here's a chance. One-on-one. Lume against Davidoff. Davidoff waiting for somebody. Lawler shot. McLean saves and kicks it right out to Greg Adams. Jyrki Lume back for the Canucks. Lume's shot high. Adams pays for that one. Here's a 2-on-1. And the shot from Davidoff goes over the glass and into the crowd. Now let's go down to Ken Daniels and get an update. Kenny?
All right, Steve, North Division semifinal. Detroit killed off a 5-minute major to Steve Chason, then gets the jump on the Leafs in the second period. A weird bounce comes right to Sheldon Kennedy. Felix Potvin caught back in his cage. He beats him 1-0. But then just a minute 8 later, Glenn Anderson on the shoot-in. Dave Andreychuk picks it up and wheels in front. He beats Cheveldae. This game's all tied up 1-1 midway through the second.
And Dave Andreychuk missed a couple of great opportunities to score in the first period, able to cash in there. Here it's been wide open hockey, Steve. 3-on-2s going both ways, and I'm sure both coaches would like this to settle down.
The face-off to the left of Kirk McLean. We've got 11:17 to play in the opening period. Canucks leading the Jets 1-0. They have a 2-1 lead in this best-of-7 Smythe Division semifinal. Dixon Ward working against Solani. Shot in by Dana Merzen. Sergei Boughton for the Winnipeg Jets. Passes up the middle. Finds Solani. Solani goes right side. Gets around Dixon Ward. Runs into Dana Merzen. Pass behind the net. The wraparound. No good. Pavel Bure tried to chip that behind Sergei Boughton. Shannon finds Solani, but it's blown down.
Anatoly Semenov is injured in behind the Vancouver net. Now comes Larry Ashley. Anatoly Semenov has a Stanley Cup ring.
Won it with the Edmonton Oilers.
And you can see he looks a little dazed, and Larry Ashley is checking his lights, asking if he knows which province he's in. Now here's how it happens. You can see Semenov right there gets hit with a high stick, and down he goes. Now here Zhamnov's stick comes and catches Semenov on the side of the head. There's no call as Zhamnov was being dragged down and taking no chances with a head injury. Larry Ashley is leading Anatoly Semenov to the dressing room. You can see the mark on the side of his face. He took it high on the chin. He's checking his teeth as he goes off. And no linesman saw it, no referee saw it, no penalty call. Dana Merzen takes Teemu Solani in, and this is the original hit on the play that Semenov was hurt. And then Semenov comes in, and watch Zhamnov's stick right there. Catches Anatoly Semenov.
Faceoff comes just outside the Canucks zone. Jets win the draw. Teppo Numinen dumps it in, and it's blown down on the offside.
Keith Tkachuk started this series playing with Solani and Zhamnov, and Darren Shannon has since taken his spot, but Shannon has played with those two before. It was just in about the last 3 weeks of the season that Tkachuk ended up playing with Solani and Zhamnov. Last year, John Paddock said the best player on his team in that 7-game series against the Canucks was Keith Tkachuk.
Shot in by Lawler, played by Diddick. This is Babbage. Cliff Ronning. And the hitting is heavy. Linden to Diddick. And Diddick fires it wide. Courtnall was well placed but couldn't get a stick on it. This is Ronning. Behind the net. Looking for somebody to pass to. Courtnall's in front, as is Linden. Linden gets the pass. And the play is blown down. And we're going to get a penalty.
And it's Mike Lawler on Courtnall, a cross-checking penalty, and a good pressure as Cliff Ronning set up behind the net. Jeff Courtnall was out in front, and Lawler trying to do his job clearing the front of the net. Took Courtnall down, but took him down with a cross-check. And the Canucks have a power play.
Mike Lawler, 2 minutes for.
Now watch Lawler in front on Courtnall right here. You can see that hit from behind, and Courtnall is famous for when when he has the opportunity, trying to draw the penalty. Now watch Keith Tkachuk try to hit Cliff Ronning up and over the boards, and he's not going to get much help from the Vancouver bench trying to get back into the play.
The favorite trick there is to grab the stick, which they did on Keith Tkachuk. John Paddock, two-time coach of the year in the American Hockey League. Might be that someday with the Winnipeg Jets. Done a good job with this young hockey club. Trevor Linden working against Eagles. Canucks on the power play. Babbage to Pavel Bure. Adams back to Bure. Bure with the shot. Hits somebody in front, takes a hop, and the Jets are able to clear. Stopped by Bure. At the blue line, it's out now. Little breathing space for the Jets.
That shot hit Dean Kennedy, and he's having a tough time getting to the bench.
Dave Babbage starts out from behind his own net. Murray Craven. Back to Babbage. Bure on the fly, working in on the left side. Has it stripped neatly by Olofsson, but the Canucks regain control. This is Linden. Craven snaps a quick shot, and Essenza got a glove on it. Linden with a shot, and Essenza goes down to cover up.
Bob Essenza with a good save on Craven, but Trevor Linden almost missed that shot completely. Got underneath the rolling puck, and it fluttered harmlessly towards the goaltender. As we look at Murray Craven, here's the shot from Bure that hits Dean Kennedy on the foot, and you can see Kennedy's reaction. He had problems getting to the bench after he blocked that one. Now here's the chances. There's the shot by Trevor Linden, a rolling puck. Essenza makes the save and hangs on as Greg Adams came to the front of the net. And here's the hit on Pavel Bure. Mike Eagles comes over, gets a good piece of Bure, and gets the puck out over the blue line.
Face-off in the Jet zone. This is Ronnie going behind the net. Dixon Ward out there along with Courtnall. Pavel Bure goes through the middle. Comes back to Jyrki Lume. 52 seconds remaining in the power play. This is Ronning working in from the corner. Bure was making a move, but couldn't get the pass. Steen backhands it through to Mike Eagles. Eagles back to Boughton. To Teppo Numminen. And he tees it up and fires it the length of the ice. 33 seconds remaining in the Canucks power play. They lead 1-0. 8:23 remaining opening period in game number 4 here in Winnipeg. Slapped off the boards. Lume keeps it in. Back to Pavel Bure. To Lume. Bure, the Russian rocket. Shot. And it hit Courtnall, but he wasn't able to direct it. Ward does a good job knocking it down, but it goes right to a Winnipeg Jet. And they clear. The fans getting back into this now. Jamnov gets the shot away through the crease. And it goes off the skate of Dvorsky, the referee. Ronnie knocked down by Shannon, and we're going to get a penalty. 7:36 to play, first period. Canucks on top by 1.
Oh, baby, I can't stand still. I'll keep on working, and the hours will keep on moving. Yeah, looking for the sun. A lifetime of driving, baby, but the thrill is on. I can't stand still.
Ford F-Series trucks. They've kept Canada moving with the best-selling pickups for over 27 years.
Every word, every story, every song a child hears is a building block.
It's what a child uses to grow, to form their own ideas and opinions.
You know, it's so easy to spot children whose parents invest the time. They're open, confident, and eager to learn.
The word communication can be intimidating, but it's just talking,
playing, reading stories, singing, listening.
It's just having fun, and it's an investment in our children's future.
Shannon takes a hooking penalty on Cliff Ronning at 12:24. I was talking with Jimmy Polenko, this Canucks Manitoba scout, and he says that Ronning is the best little man at protecting the puck. And there Shannon had to reach around Ronning and takes a hooking penalty.
Craven. Behind Kirk McLean. Leaves it for Babbage. Finds Craven. He just dumps it in to the right side. Jamnoff working against Greg Adams. Jamnoff gets the backhander the length of the ice. Dave Babbage, over 60 playoff games, the most experienced Canuck defenseman in terms of playoff action. Craven fires it in. Jamnoff there for the Jets, but Bure now has it for Vancouver. Back to Babbage. Babbage shot deflected by Linden wide of the mark. Craven has it for Vancouver. Plays it to Greg Adams. Back to Craven. 1:03 remaining in the penalty. Babbage tries to first time it and misfires. Bure to Adams. Bure gets it back. Babbage. Bure. Adams at the side of the net. Bure shot, and they believe it just ticked the stick of Bob Essenza. Good pressure from the Canucks. And another shot. Adams was positioned. This is Pavel Bure. And Bure couldn't get the shot away. Trevor Linden keeps the pressure on. Bure first times it. It goes off of Adams, but Essenza was there to cover up. Babbage into Adams, who lost his stick. Pass in front. Nobody there. Still more pressure from Vancouver. Babbage deflected by Kennedy. Kennedy's back on. Doesn't seem to be too bothered by that puck that he took on the leg. Babbage. His shot deflected. Teams are at even strike now. This is Craven. His pass picked off by Jamnoff, and the Winnipeg Jets penalty-killing unit has done a good job.
And the Vancouver Canucks power play, they can't be too disappointed. They controlled the puck for almost a full 2 minutes, had a couple of chances, but just couldn't get it by Bob Essenza.
Orknell to Ronning, unable to control at the blue line. Dana Merzen for Jyrki Lume. 5:06 to play, first period. Vancouver 1, Jets no score. Bill Housley starts out for Winnipeg and fires at the length of the ice. And that's icing against the Winnipeg Jets with 4:49 to play, first period.
My staff is very good.
No getting around it. Service is definitely a hands-on business. That is my job, to provide that personal touch.
I think our customers appreciate the good service we give them.
At Esso, we're dedicated to getting you on your way with fast, friendly service.
Esso has standards, and I have standards.
And the Esso card with valuable Esso rewards gives our customers great service.
Take a moment to compare the 93 Ford Taurus GL sedan and wagon to the imports. Taurus comes well equipped with over 24 standard features, including air, power windows, and available anti-lock brakes. You'll also discover not just one, but 2 airbags. The price? Thousands less than the imports. Wagon or sedan, just $19,995. No wonder Taurus is the best-selling car in North America.
Quality is job one. It's working.
Hockey Night in Canada update from Maple Leaf Gardens with it tied at 1. Second period, Wings get careless. Peter Zezel beats Kozlov and Coffey to the puck in front to Mark Osborne, who beat Cheveldae at 13:58. The Leafs have scored 2 straight and now lead by 1.
And here in Winnipeg, it's the Jets trailing the Vancouver Canucks 1-0. And again, they've got pressure on. Vaughn tries to find Hunter. And that went out over the blue line, and the Canucks are caught offside.
Gord Brossiker right on the play as Gerald Diddick brought it in. And without Robert Dirk in the lineup, the role Gerald Diddick plays becomes even more important. He's a physical presence in front of the net. And he and Dirk combined to give the Canucks 2 sets of defensemen that play like that. And now Diddick's got double duty.
The line of Steen, Kachuk, and Borsato on the ice for the Winnipeg Jets. Semenoff, Tim Hunter, and Gary Vaughn. The forwards for Vancouver. his own zone to Kennedy, back to Olsen, to Steen. He tried to tip it, looking for Borsato. And then a shot down into the Jet zone. Olsen overskates it. Olsen to Steen. Steen shoots it into the right corner. Steen comes up with it. Kachuk, shot, save! Olsen keeps it in. Borsato gets it to Kachuk behind the net, tied up by Didick. Shot, save again. That time, McLean had the angle covered on Kachuk. Fans looking for a penalty call that's not forthcoming from referee Paul Dvorsky. Thomas Steen. Borsato being bodied by Doug Lidster and then cleared down the ice by the Canucks. And that's an icing call against Vancouver. Ken?
Well, Steve, 2 minutes after the Leafs took the lead, Detroit ties it, and it's Paul Coffey from a bad angle beats Felix Potvin, who again is back in his net. It continues to be his problem, and now the Leafs have a problem. Detroit back even, 2-2, late second period.
Potvin played very well in the first game in Toronto, and now he looks like he's having some problems. But the way that Maple Leafs play, especially at home, you don't get a lot of scoring chances, and if they can keep it close going into the third period, they should be all right.
Pat Quinn, two-time Coach of the Year of the National Hockey League, once with the Philadelphia Flyers and then with the Vancouver Canucks last year. The face-off to the left of Kirk McLean in the Canucks zone. Shannon for Solani. Jets unable to mount a shot. This is Courtnall. Lume with the shot. Essens have got the pad on that. This is Ronning all alone on the left side. Big shot. Again, Essens has saw that all the way. And it's finally cleared. Sergei Boughton trying to find Shannon with a pass. Lume is there. Pass to Ronning. Is off his stick. Teemu Solani. Back to Sergei Boughton. Boughton being watched by Courtney. Now Boughton plays it off the boards. Jyrki Lume. Ronning. Shannon has it. Loses it. Lume again. At the blue line. Good move by Lume, but he couldn't get around Big Boughton. There's the shot from well up that's wide. Courtnall tries to find Linden with the pass deflected by Shannon.
And after Boughton made the play, there was two Canucks in behind Housley and Boughton, but the puck just didn't get to them.
Teppo Numminen plays it up on the left side for King. King in the middle for Ty Domi. Semenoff to Adams. His shot blocked. Bure keeps coming. Finally picked up and cleared by Chris King. Babbage plays it off the boards. This is Stu Barnes. Fires it into the left corner. Gerald Didick. Ty Domi comes up with it. Domi has it in his skates, taken by Semenoff. Winds up behind the net. Gerald Didick to center ice. Teppo Numminen for the Jets. Barnes just deflects it into the Canucks zone. 1:15 to play, first period. Canucks leading 1-0, and a goal by Greg Adams came early, 2:16. This is King. Has Domi in the middle. Adams doing a good job coming back, as does Pavel Bure. This is the Russian Rocket. And we've got play going on behind the play. And Pavel Bure taken heavily into the boards by Kennedy. But Bure gets up as they fight for it along the boards with the skates. Puck is still loose.
There's a situation where I think maybe the referee should blow the whistle. He's just asking for problems, letting a scrum like that go, especially when Pavel Bure is the center of attention.
Dixon Ward gets some attention. Tim Hunter mixes things up with Chris King.
And it's Hunter and King King are both going to get penalties. They're both going to the dressing room with 3:17 left. Or is this 31? Here I am looking at the clock. 31.7 seconds left. That's why they're both going to the dressing room. Chris King and Tim Hunter both get 2 minutes. And here's Chris King earlier with Greg Adams. And King gives Adams a shot. And down in the corner, Pavel Bure was involved. This is Adams and King. And here's Bure in the corner with Dean Kennedy. Kennedy makes sure, drives him into the board.
First number 26,
and no
Tim
whistle.
Hunter,
Watching
and
a
Winnipeg's
scrum.
number
Murray
17,
Craven comes
Chris
in.
King. 2 minutes each for a roughing. Time the penalties of 19 minutes, 28 seconds.
Coincidental minors.
Both get roughing penalties, and at 4-on-4 hockey, this should help the Winnipeg Jets free Teemu Selanne.
Hunter goes off for the Canucks, and Chris King for the Winnipeg Jets. All this coming with 31 seconds to play, opening period. Teppo Numminen back in his own zone. Cross ice to Housley. Housley then plays it off the boards for Numminen. Housley has Jamnoff and Selanne out there with him as the forwards. Fires it in along the boards. McLean for Lidster. 5 seconds now remaining in the opening period. Numminen at his own blue line. So the two teams will head to the dressing room. The Canucks have the edge. The score at the end of the first period, Vancouver 1, the Jets no score.
Don Cherry wakes up.
I knew you had something. I just could tell you had something. What,
You know what that is?
No idea what that is.
You know what that is,
Pliers.
folks? It's a great game, boy, and I tell you, it's a tough game. This is the pliers that Bob McGill has to carry around.
Oh.
He's all wired up all the time. And I've seen all the guys on the team used to carry these around their pocket. They're very heavy. Snip, snip, snip. In case they get sick to their stomach and they have to cut out or they'll choke to death. You ever had a broken jaw to carry these around?
No.
Keep it up, you will.
No, but you know, when guys swallow their tongue on the ice, I've seen a device that referees often carry. You and Bobby, I'm going to move this over here for my own peace of mind, but you, like Bob McGill, are often wired, so it's good you have those. I'm going to say I'm rambling here. Your thoughts on the game, Toronto-Detroit, and apologies to the viewers of Vancouver-Winnipeg. I said thoughts on the first period the other night, and you went on about Detroit. You wonder what was going on.
All right, here's the thing. Told you Stewart ref a good game. That was a penalty at the end. Every game he does. There's a flow to the game. Let's go. People can hardly remember the referee because he's so great. The one thing I'd like to see, Toronto, and take a little tip from Dino, a lot of good shots from the point. Guy's picking cherries in there. He is so confident of stopping them from the point, he's kicking them out to the guy at the point. Their guy to ice the puck. Get a guy in front, sit on him. Let him bother him. Picking cherries.
How about Mark
Right,
Howe?
Pat? You're watching, Pat, I know.
Are you amazed at Mark Howe? 38 years old next month. He's
I'll
just
tell you.
flying out there.
Unbelievable. He knows this is the last hurrah.
Last night on Hockey Night in Canada, what a classic series this has become. Montreal and Quebec are even at 2, Don.
Tell you, the fastest skating series I've seen, I think, in a long time. I'm glad to see the kid Dion come back, play well. Patrick Waugh and Hextall are right back where they started from 3 or 4 years ago. Dynamite. Nobody takes the abuse. Kirk Muller, though. Isn't he something? He's knocking around. What a heart and soul he's got.
What about Joe Sakic? I thought he was great.
Sakic, unbelievable. He's coming back. I got to say, the first couple of games, I was a little worried. Where was he? But he come up big. That's the way he is. He goes on the road. He knows he's got to come up big. Beauty.
And I know you said to me even last night they missed Owen Nolan. Let's move quickly here. The Hawks and the Bruins are out. Chicago, first of all, stunned by St. Louis.
Well, again, Joseph, that's, you mean the very first game they played 47-17. I hate to put the thing on Belfer, but switch the goaltenders. Chicago wins. It's the same thing as Boston. And by the way, I wonder who's smiling the most. Bob Sweeney, Irishman from Boston, just let go by Boston. Rick Bowness. I wonder what he's doing. He's watching now. He's laughing. But I think the guy that's smiling the most is Reggie Lemon, you know, because they treated him like, you know what, 4 straight. I wonder what the Jacob brothers who owned them think now. Back when I coached them, you remember, 12 games at home. They don't worry where you win the Stanley Cup. The only thing they want is the concessions from the games at home. And 2.
What really happened to the Bruins?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. Before I do that, I've got a little tip for you kids out there. This here I noticed last night. In just a minute, don't run it yet. You know how I always say you get stuck in the trolley tracks? You remember how Cam Neely tried to dance around Alfie and he stuck out his knee? How Clark on Fedosov tried to dance around, stuck out his knee? Bad mistake. The old players will tell you, when you're caught in the trolley tracks, go straight at them.
Almost happened to Coffey tonight.
Almost Coffey, but he stopped. But watch what Patty LaFontaine does so he doesn't get hurt. Now, here he comes here. Now, watch. He's coming. See what he does? He jumps into him. And it looks bad. Looks like Patty got knocked down, but he didn't try to avoid. Never try to avoid the check. You might get a rap in the head and stuff like that, but it won't hurt your knees. Remember that.
Walter Payton always used to drive through the hit.
There you are. Don't know. Oh, yeah.
What?
All right, now here we go with Boston. I got to tell you, I'm a little, I got to say Muckler and all those guys did a great job. And here's what happened with Boston. Boston and Chicago, but especially Boston, play 84 games in high gear all the time. And what happens when you come to the playoffs, Muckler let them lose. They won 8 straight at the end, first spot. Muckler let them lose 7. And now when Boston comes to the playoffs, they kick
7?
Didn't worry about it. They're not going up, they're not going down. Now when Boston comes to the playoffs, they can't kick it in a higher gear, and Buffalo can. Now I remember when I'd turn the screws on those guys and get the last 2 weeks, we'd be in first place, nobody could touch us. We'd go in and we'd get hammered you couldn't believe. Harry used to get hurt and mad and scream Boston Bruins. I got a little clip I went through this year's program of the Buffalo Sabres. Mark, roll that clip right here, will you, right here, of a picture of me, beautiful, walking off the ice. Now, you see me with number 1. That means I'm number 1 in the Saberland. I'm walking up.
Jeez, you were thin.
I know, but shut up.
Well,
now, look at that. 9-2. See that? 9-2. They're beating us. It didn't mean a thing. They weren't going up, going down. But then when the playoffs come, I can't believe I wore a belt here either. Look, imagine that. Anyhow, didn't mean a thing. And then when we went in the playoffs, we were in first spot, and we smoked them. And that's what the Bruins have got to do. They can't kick in and out. There's no way to go any higher. Muckler, Patty LaFontaine, and Brad May came over to the Grapevine.
Show it quick.
I know, I got to go over to the Grapevine. Brad May's such a great guy, he said that he wanted to come just to watch, okay? All right, watch this here. Watch Patty LaFontaine fall down. He falls down. Now watch this great play. Was he on a mission last night? Watch this. True Bork. Watch this here. He thought it was McGillney. Put it. Brad May. What a guy. Brad May. Way to go, Brad boy. Is he a hockey player, or is he a hockey player? The next Rick Tocchet.
Harry Sinden, if you're watching, Don Cherry says the problem with your team was with the transmission, but assures you if he was your coach in Boston, he'd give you the gears. Coach's Corner on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC.
Coach's Corner with Don Cherry. Brought to you by Pepsi. Gotta have it.
The New York Rangers had barely been formed by the legendary Lester Patrick when their early franchise success had them competing for the Stanley Cup against the heavily favored Montreal Maroons. Patrick held firm that his team could win the title despite the presence of Maroon stars like Nell Stewart. But they'd need breaks, and that happened in a way they could never have envisioned. In the series, regular Ranger goaltender Lauren Chabot was down with an eye injury. With no one to help, Lester Patrick donned the pads himself and led the team to a victory. Later, that win would enable the Rangers to capture the team's first Stanley Cup. Hockey Lore and Ford of Canada, a proud founding sponsor of the new Hockey Hall of Fame and Museum.
There have been no tidal waves in the Sea of White so far for the Winnipeg Jets. Greg Adams doing the scoring damage for Vancouver. The goal coming at 2:16 of the first period, and that's the way we start the second period with the Canucks leading Winnipeg 1-0. And the teams are playing four-a-side. Chris King is off for the Jets. Hunter off for Vancouver. This is Lume. Keeps it in. Behind the net to Pavel Bure. He couldn't get to it. He's got Merzen on the point. Leaves it for Semenov. Housley up on the boards. Lume is there to get it for Vancouver. Merzen. get his shot into the stands.
And Anatoly Semenov has come back. He had his bell rung in the first period, played a couple of shifts towards the end of the second period, but he's back. And you can see the mark on his cheek where he took that high stick from Alexei Zhamnov. The Jets really had played a physical first period, and Semenov is one of the casualties. They out-hit the Canucks 17-6. Even though they trail, they took the body and played a good physical first period.
Jyrki Lumme being watched by Zhamnov, goes behind the net. Lumme still has it. Fighting off the check, tries the wraparound, is poked away by Zhamnov. Teppo Numminen slaps it up on the boards for Phil Housley. Housley working down the right side, has it stripped neatly by Pavel Bure. The Russian Rocket starts out his own blue line. Loses it. Picks it up again. Bure for Merzen. To Jyrki Lumme. Second period just underway. Canucks 1, Jets no score. Pavel Bure, shot wide. Merzen keeps it in. Lays it along the boards. Working against Numminen. This is Murray Craven. Tries to get it back to Linden. Teemu Selanne at the Canucks blue line. Can't get around Gerald Diduck. Selanne still has it. Selanne gets the shot away. McLean makes the save with the pass. Olesen to Sergei Boughton. Boughton shoots it in right side. Gerald Diduck behind the goal. You get the feeling that if the Jets do get the equalizer, this place will explode. If the Canucks were to score, it might indeed destroy white noise, at least for the time being. Sato off the boards, down the ice. McLean slides it to Lidster. Courtnall has it through the center. Slager making a move on the right side, slaps it in. Sergei Boughton and Linden there. Comes to the left side. Tkachuk for the Jets. Sergei Boughton for Sato. McLean forced to come out of his goal and plays it down the ice.
Such a big advantage. You're out there with Yuri Slager, an inexperienced defenseman, to have Kirk McLean back handling the puck and clearing the zone when Slager makes a mental mistake.
Courtnall tried to find Ronning with a pass broken up by Kennedy. This is Slager, the rookie. Good pass to Courtnall. Courtnall's shot, and Essner goes down to make the save.
Courtnall, a left-hand shot coming down the right wing, testing Bob Essensa with that quick wrist shot. And the white noise trying to pick up the Winnipeg Jets as we look at Teemu Selanne. And one of the things he does is play up to his side. And he's going against Gerald Diduck here one-on-one. And look at Diduck, good job, good solid hit. But look at Selanne, fight off the check. And Diduck's a strong man. Diduck's all over him. And look at Selanne go to the front of the net and still get the shot away.
Selanne with an outstanding performance in Game 3 with the hat trick for the Winnipeg Jets. His first 3 games in NHL playoff action. First 3 goals. 17 minutes to play, second period. Canucks leading 1-0. Ty Domi with a shot from well out. This is King. Sergio Momesso for the Canucks. Nedved. Chance for Nedved, and Essensa makes the save. They score! Sergio Momesso, following up on the play, was able to tuck home the rebound.
And Bob Essensa is complaining that the whistle should have gone, but he had no idea where it was. Momesso started to play with a nice touch pass to Nedved right there. And Kennedy and Lawler get mesmerized by Nedved. They don't look for a trailer, and there's Sergio Momesso banging the rebound in. Now watch, here comes Kennedy and Lawler, both mesmerized by the puck, and there's Momesso all by himself, and he's able to just slide it by Bob Essensa.
And for Sergio Momesso, his first goal, first point of the '93 Stanley Cup playoffs, set up in large part by Peter Nedved. But it's a 2-0 lead for the Vancouver Canucks, and as we mentioned a few moments ago, The Canucks were hoping to do just that, to take
Scored by number
the white
27,
noise
Sergio
out of this
Momesso.
building.
The assists, number 19, Peter Nedved, and number 23, Gary Volk. Time of the goal, 3 minutes, 18 seconds.
3:18, the time of the goal. Nedved and Volk drawing the assists. Semenov backhands it to the neutral zone. Bure is there, pulled down by Zhamnov. Pass in the middle to Davidoff, couldn't control it. Pavel Bure starts forward for Vancouver at the Jets' blue line, and it's blown down.
And the Jets are going to take exception to that. Pavel Bure shot it after the whistle.
16:01 to play, second period.
Dear Gene, I'm Mike Moore, the owner of Premier Envelope. Remember, you helped us set up our 800 entry line from MTS. We were doing pretty well and wanted to try other markets, but we couldn't afford a sales force. That's why I called you about 800 entry service from MTS.
800 entry from MTS is a toll-free service that makes an 800 number affordable for any business, any size.
I'm just writing to tell you the results have been, well, phenomenal. Our 800 entry number now accounts for 40% of our business, and our customers love it because they never hesitate to call an 800 number.
For less than $1 a day, you can have an MTS 800 entry number anywhere in Canada or the U.S.
Thanks, Quade. 2 million envelopes and I can't find a stamp.
Greg Adams and Sergio Momesso providing the firepower for the Vancouver Canucks. They lead Winnipeg 2-0. 15:55 to play. Second period. Pass in front. Shot from well out. Essens there to make the save. And it's finally cleared by the Jets. Lume passing through the middle to Adams. Adams ridden out on the boards by Zhamnov. Bure losing it to another 10. Zhamnov. This is Emu Solani. Gets a return pass. Solani still has it. Fires in front, and how McLean saw that, I'll never know. Zhamnov being watched by Merzen. Gets the pass away to Housley. He couldn't control it. Jyrki Lume at the Jets' blue line. Lume, and it's one time by Bure wide. Dixon Ward playing his first playoff game. Tied up with Housley. Ward finally gets it and backhands it into the Jet zone. Eagles losing it, and it's knocked into the Winnipeg zone. Housley chasing after it with Ward. Now down to Ken Daniels and an update.
At Maple Leaf Gardens, the Leafs have taken the lead against the Detroit Red Wings, and again it's become the Leafs' big scorer, Dave Andreychuk. His second goal of the night, this one on the wraparound, fourth goal of the series. 5 minutes into the third period, the Leafs leading Detroit by 1, 3-2.
Tim Chevelday a little nonchalant on that wraparound. As you look at Dave Andreychuk, he's got that Phil Esposito-like reach. He's almost standing on the boards and can wrap it around. You have to remember the Canucks led 2-0 in Game 1 and 2-0 in Game 2. And in both those games, the Jets came back when they weren't playing very well to tie it up.
14:44 to play, second period. Davidoff tied up with Hunter. Erickson out there for the Winnipeg Jets. Braven gets it to big Gerald Diddick. He's working his way down the right side, being watched by Olofsson. Kennedy fires it around the boards. Canucks keep it in. Now Mike Eagles for the Jets. Diddick passing through the center. This is Dixon Ward working against Kennedy. And it hops over the stick of David Babbage. Gerald Diddick retrieves it for the Canucks. Plays it off the right boards. Out to center ice. Kennedy there for the Jets. Davidoff trying to find Erickson with the pass. Olofsson has to regroup in his own zone. This is Thomas Steen for Davidoff. Davidoff shot, and that handcuffed McLean. Steen passing in front. 2-on-2. Craven, Linden. Craven back to Linden, and Linden overskated. Now Tkachuk. 2-on-2. Make that 3-on-2. Lawler making a move through the middle, but Tkachuk couldn't find it with the pass. And the puck is tied up at the side of McLean, and that draws a whistle.
Puck went underneath the net, and the Jets had their arms up. They're not going to get this one. And you can see them lifting the net. It went underneath as the net popped up. The Canucks, though, you talk about Game 1 and Game 2, how they blew a 2-0 lead. They have had very limited giveaways. And when you look at Keith Tkachuk here, the chance, and look at the Canucks coverage. Take a man. Everybody takes a man. They look around. They don't follow the puck. Look at Babbage. He's looking around for a man. Diddick's got a man. Everybody in the defensive zone for Vancouver has somebody. They played a much more disciplined game here than they did in game number 3.
Lidster behind the net to Yuri Sliger. Sliger passing through the middle. And Mike Lawler goes back for Winnipeg. Plays it to Teppo Numminen. Tkachuk back to Numminen. Ahead to Steen. Steen runs into Slager and goes down. Lidster being watched by Borsato. Played off the boards to Courtnall. Courtnall, long pass up the right side for Yuri Slager. He couldn't get to it. And then slaps it in. Again, the play is blown down. 12:47 to play, second period. The Canucks with a 2-goal lead over the Winnipeg Jets.
Is this your average house pet?
Ernie, 12B. Recognize anyone?
Ernie, is this your average beer? Molson Special Dry. Starts bold, finishes clean with no aftertaste.
First time he took off like that.
Really?
Molson Special Dry. The evolution of beer.
These days, a lot of people think Chrysler is #1. But at Chrysler, we know better. That's why our #1 sales event is all about you.
The Jets try to keep the crowd in it, and Keith Tkachuk goes right over Cliff Ronning. Good solid hit, and the fans love that one. The good thing about Cliff Ronning and the Vancouver Canucks is he always bounces back. One of the smallest players, no matter how hard he gets hit, he always seems to bounce back.
Jyrki Lumme plays it for Merson. His pass intercepted by Solani. Now this is Housley for the Jets. Lays it out on the left side for Borsato. Leaves it for Janmar. And he loses it. Janmar behind McLean in front to Housley. Housley shot and it hit the post. Solani. This is Shannon. And the Canucks force the Jets out of the zone. Janmar to Housley. Housley behind his own blue line. Shannon can't get behind Ball. Lumme drives it in on the right side. Sergei Boughton for the Jets. 11:47 to play, second period. Vancouver 2, Jets no score. This is Solani on the right side. Being watched by Babbage. Shannon. Nobody in front. Bure was there. One hands it to Nedved. Nedved and Adams. And Nedved elects it to shoot it between the... And there's the shot from Bure. And Essenza goes down and takes it on the chest.
Jansen looked almost offside to me as Pavel Bure on a line change comes off and gets a good wrist shot right in the middle. As you see Sergei Boughton, he's backed in. Bure with the shot. Bob Essenza sees it all the way. Takes it off the logo and makes the save. Teemu Selanne on his last shift. Good chance in the Canucks zone just by the good forechecking effort on Jyrki Lumme, the turnover, and the shot from Phil Housley doesn't miss by much. You can see it just hits the side of the net.
Semenov will work this face-off against Thomas Steen. Couple of veterans. And Adams jumped the gun, got into the face-off circle before the puck was dropped. So they'll do it again. At that time, Steen won the draw. Lawler behind his own net. Tkachuk to Teppo Numminen. Pass up the middle of Thomas Steen. Steen at the Canucks blue line. Tkachuk. Shot. Goal!
One of the Winnipeg Jets young guns. Look at Thomas Steen. He turns Gerald Diddick. And this sets up Keith Tkachuk with the shot over Diddick. Now watch Thomas Steen go wide. Give it to Tkachuk, and there's the shot. Beats Kirk McLean. The rookies on this team accounted for more than half their goals in the regular season. 162 of 322 goals, and a rookie comes through again.
Tkachuk's second goal of the playoffs, and the Winnipeg Jets are back in this one in a hurry. Canucks lead 2-1. 10:59 to play, second period. This is Semenov. Keeps the pressure on, and then Tkachuk is able to bounce it into the neutral zone. Merzin fires it in on the right side. Essenza misplays it. No damage done. And then Lawler goes in heavily against Adams. Here's a chance for Tkachuk. And McLean is able to get the glove on that one.
And number 27, Teppo Numminen.
King with the shot. And McLean had to be sharp to make the save. Steen and Teppo Numminen drawing the assists on the goal from Keith Tkachuk at 8:48 of the second. McLean fires it around the boards. Adams again gets another hit, that time from Kennedy. Linden plays it for Ronnie. This is Chris King in his own zone to Sergei Boutin. His pass almost picked up by Courtney. This is Barnes. Has Domi on the left. Doesn't see him. Can't get the pass away. Domi working the right boards. Barnes digging for it. Still tied up in skates. Then Barnes gets it. Goes off the leg of Ronning. Linden has it. This is Chris King. Shot wide. Domi. Barnes can't get the pass in front. Ronning intercepts. Ronning behind the Canucks goal to Linden. Linden hit by King. The fans really enjoying this. Courtnall can't get free about, and then he does. This is Jeff Courtnall. Good move to get around Kennedy. Courtnall tried to find Linden with the pass, and Essenza goes down to cover up for the Winnipeg Jets.
And you can see Jeff Courtnall talking things over with Dean Kennedy as he went around him twice. And then Kennedy finally just slapped the puck to his goaltender. Now watch Mike Lawler on Greg Adams. Good solid hit by Lawler. And then Adams gives him a little face massage. And watch Chris King on Trevor Linden. Another good solid hit. And the white wave is back in action here at the Winnipeg Arena.
John, you have to wonder if towel power will emerge in Game 5 back at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver on Tuesday night after Canuck fans have had a chance to see and hear white noise here at the Winnipeg Arena. 9:14 to play. Second period.
Now watch Jeff Courtnall on Dean Kennedy. Goes around him here, stops, first goes around him, pulls it back, and goes around him again. Goes around him right there, and finally Kennedy comes back and just slaps it to Bob Essenza.
Face-off in the Jet zone to the left of Essenza. the Jets get the draw. Housley has Solani in the middle. Jamnov still has it for the Jets. Jamnov passing in front to Solani. Solani unable to get a stick on it. Cleared by the Canucks into the neutral zone. Sergei Balkin for Jamnov. Loses it and then gets it back. Solani. Shannon back to Solani. Solani shot wide. And the Canucks misplayed that there. That could have been costly. This is Murray Craven working against Boughton. These are for Dixon Ward. Lume just backhands it in. Housley plays it off the board to Jamnov. Shannon just dumps it in down the right side. Merzen against Teemu Solani. And then Merzen gets hit hard by Shannon. Lume at the blue line has it poked away. Merzen backhands it in for Vancouver. 7:57 to play, second period. Canucks 2, Jets 1. Olausson to Steen, back in the middle to Olausson at the blue line. Tkachuk shot, saved by McLean. Pass intercepted by Tkachuk. Didn't get much on the shot. For Sato against Merzen. And it comes in front, and McLean decides to relieve some of the pressure and falls on it. 7:33 to play, second period.
These days, a lot of people think Chrysler is number one. But at Chrysler, we know better. That's why our #1 sales event is all about you.
At McKinsey Financial Corporation, we've been managing money for 25 years now, helping Canadian investors set and achieve long-term financial goals to provide for their families and retirement. To take control of your financial destiny, talk to an independent investment fund dealer or stockbroker about an investment in the industrial group of funds, or, new for 1993, the Ivy funds.
McKinsey, looking both ways to manage your money.
Teemu Solani has been a physical presence. Watch this hit on Dana Merzen. First the Solani hit, and then Darren Shannon comes in and hits Merzen. Now the Canucks turn it over. They got a 3-on-2, and watch Solani and Shannon. They both head to the bench.
Back to the live action. Shot wide to the right. This is Yuri Slager, the Canucks rookie. Dumps it in on the left side. Essenza leaves it there, and Trevor Linden picks it up for the Canucks. Lidster backhands it in. The Canucks will have to clear the zone. Mike Lawler, long lead pass, intending that for Davidoff. Couldn't get to it. And Lidster touches it, and the Jets will be called for icing.
And a face-off in the Jet zone, and in the first period, the Jets won 0 face-offs in their own zone. And that shows something. In the game 3 here, they were very good on face-offs. Thomas Steen and Mike Eagles. But in the first period, the Canucks dominated. And here comes Thomas Steen out again to take the face-off, and Teemu Solani and Jamnov join him. Steen out just to take the draw.
Shots on goal to this point in the second period. 16-14 favor the Jets over the Canucks. Winnipeg outshot Vancouver 10-8 in the first period. Cliff Ronning will take the face-off against Jamnov. Ronning to Courtnall. Courtnall plays it to Trevor Linden. Lawler intercepts. Courtnall now. Lawler has it. Plays it along the boards. Steen is there for the Jets. Shoots it through the middle. Courtnall working against Jamnov. Loses it. Ronning picks it up. Ronning tried to find Linden with a pass. Jamnov picks it up for the Jets. And the play is blown down, and we're going to get a penalty.
And it's Mike Lawler with a cross-checking penalty on Trevor Linden. And Lawler has been a very physical presence, and Paul Dvorsky has let a lot of this stuff go. And now he calls one here at 13:29. It's been a while since Dvorsky has called a penalty, and I think the players don't know. Now look at this hit here. And that's the cross-check. He had the stick up pretty high on Trevor Linden, and that's why Dvorsky called that one. That's the first penalty of the second period. And you get in a roll like that where you've gotten away with a few hits that you might have thought yourself were questionable, and then one like that on Trevor Linden that I didn't think was too bad. Lawler goes up.
Had 5 penalties in the first period. 3 to Winnipeg, 2 to Vancouver. So the Canucks power play. We get a chance to go to work. Trevor Linden, Greg Adams, Pavel Bure up front. Babbage and Murray Craven on the points. Borsato, Kennedy, Mike Eagles, and Teppo Numminen out there to kill the penalty for the Jets. And the Jets get the draw, the all-important face-off in their own zone. This is Teppo Numminen. Dumps it down, takes a hit from Linden. Craven leaves it for Dave Babbage. Murray Craven shoots it in. Essensa plays it. And then Linden gets it. Plays it back to the point of Babbage. Pavel Bure. Bure tried to find Craven with the pass, but it was redirected. Back to the point. Craven. And his pass goes outside the zone to Babbage, so the Canucks have to come back and regroup. Teppo Numminen misfired, but Shannon gets it for the Jets. Shannon with the shot that's wide. He turned Babbage around with a nice move. Bure to Linden. Back to Bure. Bure shoots, and Essensa gets a leg on it. And the puck winds up in the crowd.
I don't think Bob Essensa saw that one, as you could tell from his reaction. Got the leg out at the last second. The Canucks with a good rush on the 3-on-2. Get the Bure shot from right in the middle as the Jet defense had to back in. Pavel Bure loves to shoot the puck. We mentioned he had over 400 shots in the regular season. Trevor Linden drives, pushes the defense back, and look at where he tees it up from. And look at Essensa's reaction. He just got the left leg out to make that save.
And the face-off will come in the Jet zone to the left of Essensa. Back to Lume. To Cliff Ronnie. 52 seconds remaining in the Canucks power play. Bure to Lume. Back to Bure. Tried to first time it. And it was off target and didn't have a lot of steam on it. Jyrki Lume starts out for Vancouver. 31 seconds remaining in the penalty to Mike Lawler. Lume. Ronning. And then Ronning tried to go back to the point to Pavel Bure.
We talked about key power plays during a game and what time. Here the Canucks have played a very disciplined defensive game. They have a chance with the man advantage and just can't get anything going.
Jyrki Lume starts out for the Canucks at his own blue line. Gets around Borsato, but is tripped up. And once again, the Jets knock it back in, and the teams are playing 5-a-side. The penalty is over. Solani steals it. Chance for Solani. Cuts in on McLean. McLean makes the save. Courtnall ahead to Yuri Slager. Slager drives it in, and it goes off the linesman. 4:13 to play, second period. Canucks still lead by 1.
A salute to Louis, one of the first guys to come down from the trees and start walking. A momentous step in evolution. Among other things, this meant that eventually guys could get up from their chair and go to the fridge for a Molson Special Dry without having to walk on all fours. The evolution of beer.
You can go as far as your heart can see. Be on any road that you want to be. It's your day. You're on your way.
At Esso, we never lose sight of what's most important to you.
You're on your way with Esso. It's your day. You're on your way.
Don Cherry wakes up and briefly considers a job coaching hockey in Sweden.
Thanks. I needed that.
Wake up to cool, refreshing skin bracer.
Doug Lindster with the giveaway. Teemu Selanne gets it and cuts to the net, but then the coverage comes back, and you can see Dixon Ward does a good job keeping Selanne to the outside. The backhand was handled easily by Kirk McLean.
A sea of white here at the arena in Winnipeg. Another capacity crowd. This is game 4, the Smythe Division semifinal between the Canucks and Jets. Canucks lead the series 2-1, and they have a 2-1 lead with 4:12 remaining to play in the second period in game 4. Shot in, right side of the Jets zone. Essensa leaves it for Sergei Boughton. Boughton passes to Zhamnov. He can't control it. Babbage now for Vancouver. And he fires it into the bench, and that struck the trainer, Larry Ashley, who goes to help the trainer when he's hurt.
That's right. Well, you notice how quickly Ricky Lee got out of the way, and Larry Ashley took that one off the side of the head. And Kay Whitmore, the backup goaltender, he wasn't going to stick his hand out trying to get that one. You look at Kay Whitmore, how cool he looks as Kirk McLean is playing very well.
The face-off just outside the Canucks zone. Semenoff and Zhamnov. Boughton to Tkachuk, back to Boughton. 3:48 to play, second period. Shots on goal, 17-15, favor the Jets. Shot in by Zhamnov. McLean has to come out and play it. Leaves it for Babbage. Hunter tries to go cross ice to Gary Vaughn. He can't get to it. Tkachuk back to Housley. Housley starts out for the Jets. Fires it in. And Tkachuk is upended. Fans calling for some kind of action from referee Paul Dvorsky. None forthcoming. Boughton backhands a pass to Housley. Zhamnov finds Selanne. Selanne, big shot, and McLean makes the save. Semenoff behind his own goal, and Selanne is sent flying by Dave Babbage. And that gets the crowd involved. Puck dumped in by Vaughn. Essensa plays it. Leaves it for Housley. Housley ahead to Zhamnov. Back to Housley. Housley tips it into the Canucks zone. Lidster back for Vancouver. 2:38 to play, second period. 2-1 favor Canucks. Kick forward by Newman. Selanne and Merzen tie up. Then King for the Jets, fires in front, and McLean got a stick on it and poked it forward. This is Chris King for Barnes. Running now for the Canucks. Turnover by the Canucks in their own zone. Barnes to Ty Domi. Domi to Barnes. Barnes brought down by Merzen. No call. Linden working against Teppo Numminen. Behind to Barnes. Held up there by Merzen. Domi passes in front, and McLean got a stick on it and deflected it out into the neutral ice area. Lawler shot into the left corner. Lidster for the Canucks. Plays it along the boards. Kept in by Lawler. This is Barnes trying to set somebody up. Domi couldn't control it, and it's cleared by Cliff Ronning.
Good pressure by the Barnes-Domi King line again, but not much finish in the Canucks finishing their checks.
Here's Thomas Steen racing into the corner for the Jets. Bodied by Lidster. Merzen plays it off the glass and out into the neutral ice area, and he pays for that. Domi hit him. Steen. Nice pass to Zhamnov. Zhamnov's shot goes off the leg of Babbage. Less than 60 seconds now remaining to play in period number 2. Semenoff tied up by Boughton. Housley being watched by Adams, and it's called on the offside.
And you can hear the crowd's reaction as the Jets tried to get Paul Dvorsky to call a penalty, and Phil Housley's talking things over now with Dvorsky, and Dvorsky's shaking his head. Domi, kicks down low. Good solid hit. And that line played a good shift. They got the crowd back into it again after a lull. And although they didn't score, they created some opportunities.
This has been the best hitting game of the series so far. Both teams dishing out some good body checks, clean body checks. The way Don Cherry likes to see the game play. Hit him hard, hit him often. This is Thomas Steen at center, dumps it in left side. McLean comes out to play it. Off the boards, ahead to Semenov. Housley.
Again, another example of the way Kurt McLean can handle that puck. He comes out, draws a player, and then just clears it wide.
Zamnov is dumped by Babich, and again, no call from Dvorsky. This is Gerald Diddick with Adams. Shot from well out. Essenza turns it aside, and then gets the second shot on Essenza. Pavel Bure for the Canucks plays it to Adams. Loses it to Housley. Bure. And time runs out as Pavel Bure gets a shot that is wide of the mark.
And you can hear the crowd's reaction, and they're hoping to influence Paul Dvorsky come third period time. And the Vancouver Canucks are playing a very physical game. They're finishing their checks, they're taking the body, and they haven't been called so far by Paul Dvorsky, and that's what you have to do. And out comes Dean Kennedy as he's going to talk to Dvorsky also.
Stay with us during our second period intermission tonight. Kenny Daniels will be talking live to Luciano Borsato, who had a huge goal for the Winnipeg Jets in game number 3. The score at the end of the second period, the Canucks 2, the Jets 1.
After 40 minutes of play in Winnipeg, the Vancouver Canucks, who lead the Jets by 1 in the series, also lead the Jets by 1 on the scoreboard, leading by a score of 2-1.
Shot is blocked, and here's a chance. A breakaway for Borsato all alone. Shoots, scores!
Game 3, shorthanded. Luciano Borsato, who joins me now. Biggest goal of your life?
Yeah, pretty much so. First NHL playoff goal, shorthanded. You don't get too many of those, so it was pretty exciting.
Your thoughts on this game after 2 periods of play, down by a goal?
Well, Vancouver had most of the play, like in the first period, then we come back and then they take it over. We just had the last few minutes of the time. We got to keep working it low, and hopefully things go our way.
Now, you were a scorer when you played in junior at Clarkson, when you played college hockey. You come up here and yet not really asked to score goals, but more checking. How do you feel about that?
Oh, everybody is basically a scorer before they get to the NHL, and when you get here, you got a role to do, and everybody has to do it to the best of their ability, I guess, and whatever you have to do to win. Do your job. Do
you wonder sometimes what it would be like to play on a line with Solani and how these guys can get some goals? I mean, Semenko and Gretzky, he did wonders for him.
Yeah, well, I think we'll just let Alex and the team will worry about themselves, and I'll just pick up my back check.
Now, in 1984, I guess 7th selection by the Winnipeg Jets, it took you a while to really catch on, and you played a while in Finland.
Yeah, I went to university 4 years, and I went to Finland for a year, and then I came back after that.
Now, also, you had some problems, too, with an abdominal injury. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I heard, my pelvis, a bit of muscle. Missed a year and a half of hockey, and I didn't think I'd be playing again, but fortunately I'm in the playoffs, so it's a good experience.
Yeah, it's a similar injury. I guess Al Secord went through that, and a lot of players are going through that. What's the recuperation like?
It's basically time. Brian Erickson had abdominal injury, and he was almost off for a year or two, so it just takes a lot of time. It takes a while to figure out what it is at first, I guess. So.
Now, being a good Italian boy, I can't let you get away without telling me who your childhood heroes are. Well,
I guess Tony Esposito. I used to play goal all the time in net, but Brian Trottier, when he came in the league in '76, I was a big out with his.
Well, you got one in there, Tony at least. I figured maybe it would be Phil being a forward, but Brian Trottier, yeah, good people to look up to. Thank you, Luciano. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Ken.
Luciano Borsato of the Winnipeg Jets, our score again after 2 periods of play. Vancouver leading 2-1. Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC continues after we take this time. Thanks, Carl. After 40 minutes of play here at the Winnipeg Arena, it's the Vancouver Canucks leading the Winnipeg Jets by a score of 2-1. And with me now is Regina native injured Canucks defenseman Robert Dirk. And first off, why are you sitting here with me and not out there?
I can't say, Ken.
Very, very secretive. Now this has come about lately that all teams are being very quiet about their injuries. Is that something just come playoff time?
Yeah, basically, come playoff time, if guys get bumped and bruised, they want to keep it quiet, so the opposition doesn't know where to bump and bruise them some more. So.
I bet, and they'd probably be using it next game. You've been in here watching this game. Your thoughts in the first 2 periods?
You know, I think we're playing pretty well. We're playing much more disciplined hockey game out there tonight, and it's showing in the score. And if we can continue that for the final 20 minutes, we'll be going home to Van with a 3-1 lead.
How do you hope the fans in Vancouver respond, considering what we've seen here with the white noise?
Well, they responded great last year when you know, they had the white noise here, and we came home and we were losing 3-1, and the fans responded well, and you know, it pumped us up for game 5, and we took that and came back here, and everybody knows what the history books say now. So we came back with those final 3 games, but you know, our fans are great. I got nothing bad to say about our fans. They're right there behind us 100%.
I love asking defensemen this question. Your thoughts when Teemu Selanne comes down on you, one-on-one?
Well, you just hope he doesn't turn you inside out and make you look like a pylon, that's for sure.
What's the best way to defend against him? Is there
you just, Pat tells us if at all possible, be up close to him so you don't give him time and space, and that's the most important thing. If you take time and space away from any player, he's not going to be able to make the play he wants to. So that's what we're trying to do with Selanne and the rest of the Jets.
Just one quick thought now on the St. Louis Blues taking out Chicago 4 straight.
First time I cheered for the Blues in about 2 years, so way to go Blues.
You bet, and it's easier for you guys if you get through here, go through St. Louis rather than Chicago, I suppose. Robert Dirk, thank you. Right. Robert Dirk, injured defenseman of the Vancouver Canucks. Molson, Hockey Night in Canada on CBC, and the 1993 Stanley Cup playoffs continues from Winnipeg in just a moment. Minutes of play, Vancouver leading the Jets 2-1. Third period action is next on Molson, Hockey Night in Canada.
The third period just underway here at the Winnipeg Arena. The Canucks leading the Jets 2-1. They lead the series 2-1. They'd like to leave here with a split. Jets would like to tie it up as Ronnie gets the shot away. Kachuk working in his own zone, backhands it around. Ronning there for the Canucks. Tries to get it back to the point. Borsato taken onto the boards heavily by Dana Merzen. Jyrki Luma goes back to Merzen. Merzen tries to find Cortland with a pass. Trevor Linden wheels and shoots in on the right side. Phil Housley starts things out for the Winnipeg Jets. Third period just underway. Canucks leading 2-1. Game 4. Adams, shot, Essenza. First test of the third period. Another shot just wide of the mark. Babbage, rink-wide pass for Gerald Diddick. Diddick dumps it into the left corner. Housley there for the Jets. Housley starts out for Winnipeg. Tries a long pass, picked off. Diddick tries to dump it in. Housley takes it. Gives it to Adams. Adams to Bure, quick shot, and Essenza gets the glove up and pulls it down.
Bure didn't get much on that shot. Got it away quickly, but it was rolling when he teed it up, and Essenza almost got fooled. Reached at it twice. Nice play by Greg Adams. And you see Bure, now look at this. Essenza grabs at it and just gets the glove in behind it. He reached at it twice as Bure didn't get much on it. You look at the ice time, Pavel Bure in that 16-minute mark, and Selanne much more in the second period. The first period, Selanne doesn't kill penalties, and the Jets took a couple of penalties. Selanne's ice time a little less in the first.
Attendance tonight, 15,567. That's 200 over capacity. So once again, it's standing room only. Murray Craven on the faceoff against Janmark. Hutter, weak shot. Shannon for the Jets. Tries to go rink wide, picked off by Lidster. Lidster tries to shoot it in, can't. Chance for Teemu Selanne. Selanne shot, saved by McLean. His first big test of the third period. Hunter dumps it in right side. Olesen there for the Jets. Tips it to Teemu Selanne. Selanne runs into Craven. Tied up with Olesen. Craven turning, passing in front, and Essenza, not taking any chances, decides to hold it.
Solani chants of good goal scorers. They always hit the net. Murray Craven taking the hit from Solani and then almost creating a chance for the Vancouver Canucks. The good goal scorers always make the goaltender make the save. And here's Solani. He's been a physical presence. He jumps up and then he gives Craven an extra shot. And Paul Dvorsky didn't call that one.
They call him the Finnish Flash here in the Manitoba Capital, and he was certainly that in Game 3 with the hat trick. Kept off the score sheet tonight.
I think most people forget because he is so fast and he's so quick that he's 6'1", weighs 200 pounds. And usually players of that size aren't that quick.
I talked to him about his weight the other day. He said he started the season around 196, 197. He's now 201, so he's actually put on weight throughout the course of the season. The faceoff coming in the jet zone to the left of Essenza. Semenov will take it for the Canucks against Eagles. And Semenov wins it. Lume into the corner. Lawler there. Lawler tries to find Barnes with the pass. Numinen to Ty Domi out there with Eagles and Barnes. Flip down into the Canucks zone. Lume fighting with Barnes. Kept in by Numinen. Barnes behind the net. Chris King out there now with Domi and Barnes. Semenov touches it, and the play is blown down.
Knocked down with a high stick from Canuck to Canuck, and the faceoff comes back just inside the blue line where the pass was made. Stewie Barnes playing with Ty Domi and Chris King has really complimented those two players. He's a good finesse guy. A first-round draft choice of the Winnipeg Jets. 4th overall, has quick hands. Took a little while to realize what it took to play in the National Hockey League. You have to use your wingers and your defensemen. Barnes had a lot of solo efforts when he first came up. But this year, he seems to be using everybody on the ice much better, and he's earned himself a spot in the big leagues.
The face-off just inside the Canucks blue line. 17:08 to play, third period. Canucks 2, Jets 1. Semenov for Vancouver tries to find Bure with the pass. Couldn't touch it. He would have put himself offside. Kachuk leaves it for Adams. Adams dumps it in on the right side. Essens out to stop it for Housley. Semenov in front. Sergei Boughton ahead to Zhamnov. Zhamnov, good pass for Solani. Solani tries to go around Lume, and Solani is hauled down by Jyrki Lume. Dvorsky was right there. Bure to Semenov. Back to Bure. Bure tried to get the shot away. Passes in front. Solani intercepts. The two superstars go into the corner. Nothing comes of it. Gerald did it. Dumps it in. Bure chasing after it. Keith Kachuk ahead to Davidoff. Watched by Babbage. Davidoff loses it. Ronning gets a stick on it for Vancouver. Flies it ahead. This is Jeff Courtnall. Courtnall waiting for some help. Rink wide pass. Right side, Davidoff. Diddick can't control it. Davidoff plays it ahead to Eagles. Eagles backhands it behind the net. Shannon there along with Davidoff, but neither Judd able to come up with it. Kennedy, the Jets captain, tries to find Davidoff. Too far. Cliff Ronning. Eagles slaps it off the boards. Doug Lidster into the right corner. Linden, quick shot. Essens is saved. Off the boards, down the left side. Yuri Sliger. Courtnall loses it to Thomas Steen. Steen shot well out, and McLean got the glove on it. Lidster ahead to Courtnall. Linden leaves it for Slager. Slager to Courtnall. Linden Tries to shoot it in. Borsato has it, and then he gives it to Kennedy.
Trailing 2-1, we're going to see a lot of Teemu Selanne. He seems to be playing every other shift here in the third period.
McLean lets it go. Pass in front, but there was nobody there. Shot from well out. McLean gets it. Plays it to Hunter. This is Murray Craven left side. 3-on-2. Shot from Craven wide. Keith Tkachuk for the Jets. Gets hung up at the blue line, and the call is offside. Things are beginning to heat up in the third period. Canucks in front by 1.
What you want is what you get at McDonald's.
Right now at McDonald's, you can get a personal-sized pepperoni pizza for just 99 cents with the purchase of any soft drink.
Big cut.
We got the lights and the brand new trim. Go see a dealer, take a spin. Trim a truck, it's for tough. And no doubt you'll get the right stuff. You're gonna get what's good for your soul. You're dressed up and ready to roll.
Get your no-charge Trim a Truck package on Ranger and F-Series, plus cashback on F-Series during your Manitoba Ford and Mercury dealers Trim a Truck events.
What you want is what you get at McDonald's today. Now you go back to the show. I'm getting my pizza.
Again, that's a personal-sized pepperoni pizza for 99 cents when you buy any soft drink, but only till April 25th.
Thomas Steen with the big shot. Look at Kirk McLean. He's out. He's standing up well. Sees it all the way. Gets the left hand out. And I haven't seen Kirk McLean as cool as he's been tonight handling the puck. And the Jets have really had trouble anything deep in the zone. McLean has come out and handled it for the Vancouver Canucks.
Shots on goal overall to this point in the third period. 21-19 favoring the Winnipeg Jets. 14-16 remaining to play third period. Canucks lead by 1. Vaughn and Jamnoff on the faceoff. Just outside the Canucks zone. Vaughn wins it and just dumps it into the Jet zone.
Along with Ty Domi, Jamnoff and Selanne are playing every other shift with a variety of wingers.
Vaughn able to keep it in. Passing in front to Hunter. Unable to get to it. Murray Craven loses it to Olofsson. Backhands it to Domi. Dean Kennedy behind his own net. Pressure from Vaughn. Good pressure from Vaughn. Olofsson being watched by Craven. This line doing a good job for Vancouver. This is Jyrki Lumme working down the right side, and the play is blown down, and we're going to get our first penalty of this third period.
A Gary Volk interference penalty on Teemu Selanne. And Volk, the Edmonton native, looks up at the clock. Now watch Volk right here. Selanne's trying to forecheck, and look at Volk. Gives him a little tug with the stick. And down goes Selanne, and Volk gets the interference penalty.
An opportunity for the Winnipeg Jets power play to go to work. They trail 2-1.
They've only had one other power play, and that was early in the first period when Jeff Courtnall took a high sticking penalty on Chris King. And you look at some of the stuff that went on in the second period, and then that one, Steve, it's much like the Mike Lawler call in the second period on his hit on Trevor Linden. The cross-checking penalty call on Lawler, compared to some of the other stuff you wonder about, and this one, the interference penalty to Volk.
You suggested, though, in the second period intermission that perhaps Paul Dvorsky would tighten things up in the third period.
And I'm sure he will. The longer this game goes on in a 2-1 situation, you have to wonder about the calls. I'm sure he doesn't want to decide this game.
Housley leaves it for Jamnoff. He's out there with Tkachuk and Teemu Selanne. Housley fires it in right side. Tkachuk back to Housley. Tkachuk. Jamnoff. Housley. Teppo Numminen to Jamnoff. Back to Numminen. Numminen's shot deflected in front by Tkachuk, but wide. Jamnoff run by Babbage. Semenov digging after the loose puck on the boards. Jamnoff playing it with his skates to Tkachuk. Tkachuk to Selanne. Back to Tkachuk. Kachuk loses it. And Didick is there to come up with it for the Canucks. 2-on-2. He's got Bure with him. Shoots wide. 58 seconds remaining in the penalty to Gary Vaughn. Kachuk at the Canucks blue line. And Jamnoff was about a foot in too deep, offside.
Gord Brosker made the call, and you can see the look on John Paddock as he looks up and sees 51 seconds left. He wants Tamo to stay on. And Keith Kachuk comes off, and Darren Shannon and Evgeny Davidov go out.
You get the impression that if they said to Solani, look, you've got to play the entire 60 minutes, he would. He's that kind of a player.
And he'd like it. They talk about the stamina on Doug Gilmour, and then you look at Teemu Solani, same kind of endurance.
Steen wins the draw, gets it back to Ellison. Over to Housley, his shot from well out. Rings it around the boards. Solani for the Jets. Behind the net. Shannon. For Thomas Steen. Housley. Back to Steen. Housley. Shot. And it's blocked in front by Jyrki Lumme. That one had to hurt. Right out the shin pads. Olesen. Housley shot deflected in front. Teemu Solani slides it through the crease. Nobody there for the Winnipeg Jets. Thomas Steen to Solani. Thomas Steen. 5 seconds remaining in the Jets power play. Shot wide. Solani there. Shannon working with Solani behind the Canucks goal. And it comes in front. And the Canucks have control. This is Trevor Linden being watched by Solani. To Gary Vaughn. Teams at even strength. 11:19 to play. Third period. Vancouver 2. Winnipeg 1. Vaughn being watched by Olesen. Housley. Backhands it ahead to Eriksson. Intercepted by Bure. Bure's shot goes off of Olesen. Bure tied up along the boards. Jets come up with it. Into the neutral zone. Good play by Semenoff to get it to Babbage. Babbage backhands it to Didick. Didick shoots it in. Glove down by Mike Lawler. Lawler ahead to King. Didn't see it. And Bure comes up with it. Plays it to Babbage. Babbage out of his own zone to Adams. To Semenoff. Backhanded into the neutral zone. King there along with Adams. Adams for the Canucks. Back to Semenoff. Semenoff dumps it into the corner for Bure. Bure watched by King. This is Adams. Still has it. And one step too many. Lost control. And now the Jets come back, led by Eagles. Eriksson backhands it in. Can't get it by Slager. Eagles has it. Eagles driven into the boards by Yuri Slager. Eriksson. And Semenoff plays it ahead to Adams. Semenoff gets it back.
Semenoff at the end of a long shift, just trying to get off the ice. Didn't flip it all the way down.
High shot. And McLean was out, and the puck hit the side of the net. McLean lost it for a split second. Could have been a costly error by the Vancouver goaltender. And the play is blown down with 9:28 remaining to play. Third period. Canucks still in front of the Jets, 2-1.
Genuine draft. Get out of the old. Get into the cold.
Every hour, this man rigorously tests Chevy Cavaliers to make sure you get the best car possible. Canada's best best-selling car for 3 years running. Now comes with great leasing and financing options.
Welcome back to the arena in Winnipeg. 9:28 to play, third period. Canucks leading the Jets 2-1. The face-off just inside the Winnipeg Jets blue line. Ronning wins it, gets it back to Lume. Lume's shot into the corner. Sergei Boughton for the Jets. Jamnov at his own blue line. Being watched by Courtnall. Plays it up for Solani. Solani to Thomas Steen. Back behind the net. Solani is there. Kicked out of harm's way. This is Cliff Ronning for the Canucks. Off the boards. Tries to find Courtnall at center ice. Dumped in by Housley. Solani chasing after it. Lume up to Courtnall. Backhanded into the neutral zone. Housley to Boughton. Jamnov at the blue line. Shot, and it's deflected high into the crowd by Jyrki Lume. 8:43 to play, third period.
My staff is very good.
No getting around it. Service is definitely a hands-on business. That is my job, to provide that personal touch.
I think our customers appreciate the good service we give them.
At Esso, we're dedicated to getting you on your way with fast, friendly service.
Esso has standards, and I have standards.
And the Esso card with valuable Esso rewards gives our customers great service.
Let's hear it for the baseball expert.
Typical hockey crowd.
Ferguson Jenkins. Now, there's a baseball handle.
There's nobody in baseball named Valerie.
All right, get to the point.
Folks, when you wager on Sports Select, make it a double play. Hockey and baseball.
Yeah, try some of that wimpy baseball stuff, too.
What do you mean wimpy stuff?
Hey, watch the hangnail. Sports fans, get in the game. Make your Sports Select wager today. You probably got a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it figures.
Play Pro Line and over-under.
Both goalies have played well, but both teams defensively have really clamped down in this game. There hasn't been nearly as many good scoring chances, and Kirk McLean has really controlled the puck on any Jet shoot-ins.
Murray Craven working against Stu Barnes. The face-off from the top of the face-off circle. Craven wins it, gets it back to Gerald Diddick. 8:38 to play, third period. Craven tried to find Bach. Long lead pass up on the left side. Craven couldn't get to it. Kennedy is there to touch it, and it'll be icing against the Vancouver Canucks.
And a chance for the Winnipeg Jets in the offensive zone on a face-off to try and create some things. Dean Kennedy talked about playing at home, not just the white noise, about how it's so much more comfortable when you can be at home and sleep in your own bed and just do the things that you can do.
Don't forget, we've got more Hockey Night in Canada action coming your way tomorrow. The Montreal Canadiens visiting Le Colisée in Quebec City. That series even at 2. And then, of course, Tuesday night from the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, we'll have Game 5 in our series between the Canucks and the Winnipeg Jets. This is Hunter dumping it in on the left side. Sergei Boughton there for the Jets. Craven intercepts. And then Shannon has it for the Jets. Shannon plays it up on the right side looking for Davidoff. Ridden on the play by Merzit. Lidster can't control it. Shannon poking at it. And Hunter decked Stu Barnes away from the play at the faceoff circle while the puck was behind the net.
And Darren Shannon's complaining to Paul Dvorsky that Doug Lidster fell on the puck. That's very rarely called. It was close enough. Lidster pulled it in a little bit, but it was underneath his body. Now watch Lidster has some problems here. The forechecking, good job by Davidoff. And in comes Shannon. Look at Lidster. He's going to make sure he gets the whistle. And down he goes with his hands on it.
You saw Doug Lidster having trouble with the puck. There was some talk that in Game 3 the ice was a little rough and it was presenting a few problems, but it was cold enough in Winnipeg today that I'm sure there were no problems with the ice here at the arena in Winnipeg.
Cameraman with a partial partially obstructed view of this one. There are a few seats here in the Winnipeg Arena, and they, like the Vancouver Canucks, although they're still in the planning stage, and the Canucks have their new building in the works. Barry Schenkero, the owner of the Winnipeg Jets, trying to get a new building here in Winnipeg, and Arthur Griffiths is well on his way to having his built in Vancouver. State-of-the-art, 20,000-seat arena, right beside BC Place.
What a beautiful structure that's going to be. A new home for the Vancouver Canucks in the heart of downtown Vancouver. Anatoly Semenov will work this face-off against Mike Eagles. Eagles wins it. Kachuk sent sprawling. This is Borsato getting it back to the blue line. Adams there for the Canucks, and now Babbage fires it off the boards. Adams gives chase. Mike Lawler backhands it to Pavel Bure. Bure takes a hit from Eagles. Lawler for the Jets, ahead to Borsato. Babbage shoots it in for the Canucks. 7:36 to play, third period. Canucks 2, Jets 1. Diddick off the boards, try to find Bure with the pass. Teppo Numminen for the Jets. To Lawler, back to Numminen. Forced to go back behind their own goal. Numminen at center ice. Off the end boards. Borsato shot in front, redirected by McLean. Lawler for Steen. Kachuk is there, fires in front. And Borsato was well placed. This is Kachuk. Steen. Back to Lawler. Lawler with the shot, and McLean hangs on, not wanting to take any chances.
Good pressure by the Winnipeg Jets, but again, the Vancouver Canuck coverage in their own zone. And you look at John Paddock, and you wonder what time of the game it is and what the score is. He's pretty cool behind the bench. Played for Pat Quinn in Philadelphia during that streak where they went 35 games without a loss. And you look at Paul Holmgren, coached or played for Philadelphia, that same team, and he says that Pat Quinn was his biggest influence. You look at Team Canada beat the unified team today. Paul Correa got a goal. He might be in the top 5 draft picks. Eric Lindros got another one, and Kevin Dineen, who was there also from the Philadelphia Flyers, spotted another one.
Trevor Linden will take this face-off for the Canucks against Phil Housley. Coming in the circle to the left of Kirk McLean, and now Linden is leaving to be replaced by Cliff Rodney. Here's the chance, and McLean is right there, and Shannon can't believe it.
And Solani pats Shannon on the backside as Solani just fed him that pass, and you can see Darren Shannon, the look of consternation on his face. And Phil Housley taking the draw. Shannon gets the shot right here. Tees it up, but look at where Kirk McLean is. Reading the play again, is there, and has the puck hit him.
6:44 to play, third period. White noise coming to life here at the Winnipeg Arena. The face-off again to the left of Kirk McLean in the Canucks zone. Steen and Linden. And this time, both are being waved out of the face-off circle. And again, it's a matchup between Housley and Ronning. Housley once again winning it. Steen working behind. Shannon for the Jets. Ronning playing it from the ice. Courtnall tripped up. Linden off the boards. Phil Housley. 6:19 to play. Third period. Housley goes behind Bob Essenza. Being watched by Courtnall. Shannon backhands it to no one. Linden just knocks it back in. The Canucks sitting on that 1-goal lead. Shannon, rink wide. Teemu Solani tripped up by Semenov, waved off. No call from Paul Dvorsky. Courtnall goes rink wide to Pavel Bure. Bure against Boughton. Bure, shot blocked by Boughton. Played ahead to Thomas Steen. Steen from center ice just dumps it in. McLean plays it to the corner. Kachuk behind the net. Doug Lidster off the glass. All Olofsson chasing for it with Adams. Rides Adams out of the play. Teppo Numminen to Tkachuk. In the middle to Zhamnov. Domi cutting in front of him. Pass in front. Adams there to intercept for the Canucks. Domi working on the sideboards. Back to Teppo Numminen. His shot deflected in front. A chance there for Olofsson, and he fired wide. Now Numminen back in his own zone, working against Bure. Zhamnov. Olofsson in the middle to Zhamnov. 4:54 to play, third period, and the play is blown down on the offside. Canucks continue to lead by the slimmest of margins.
Way back before the Pathfinders, before the Explorers, even before the Cherokees, there was Blazer. Now the first sport utility vehicle of its kind offers you all this and the performance of a 200 horsepower V6. You can spend thousands more on something else, but there's only one way to get the experience of a Chevy Blazer, the vehicle that originated the species.
Hey man, what do you want to do?
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe finish high school. In college. Wife. House. Kids. Bowl on Wednesdays. Work off the old gut. Make middle management. I hang it up and head on down to Miami. Buy some white shoes and pants, come up to my chest and complain about the government full time.
No, man. I mean, what do you want to do this afternoon?
Oh. The beach.
I love it! Remember, right after the game, we'll have the Molson 3 Stars, and Kurt McLean has played very well and really controlled things back there for Vancouver tonight. A number of other players have played well. Trevor Linden, again, has played very well. You look at the Winnipeg Jets. Thomas Steen has been really good. Keith Tkachuk, up until the third period, was very good.
And Teemu Selanne just on ice time alone. A face-off just outside the Canucks zone. Murray, Craven, and Zhamnov. Craven wins the draw, gets it back to Diduck. Diduck off the boards. Looking for Hunter. Goes into the Jet zone. Housley there, watched by Craven. Block. Into Murray. Craven takes a hit from Zhamnov, and I think he ran into the butt end of the stick held by Craven.
And you see Paul Dvorsky has it shoulder high, and he's saying to Craven, okay, that's a high stick. And if Zhamnov's cut, they're going to play a power play for the last 4:38 of this period. Zhamnov's down. Jim Ramsey, the trainer for the Jets, is out. And it might be the double minor. We saw that this afternoon, a double minor for an unintentional high stick. And Craven is headed to the penalty box. Now here's a look. Now watch, Zhamnov comes in to hit Craven. Up goes the stick right there, and you can see, where is it? Yes, it is. It's above his shoulder. And Craven's going to the penalty box. Now watch it again. Here comes Craven's stick, and it's right under Zhamnov's chin. Down he goes, and Craven goes off. And he's only getting 2 minutes, as Zhamnov is not cut. Unfortunately for the Vancouver Canucks, there's no blood involved, and Craven only gets 2 minutes for high stick.
There was no question that the stick was on its way up. Murray Craven may not have liked the call, but it's a 2-minute minor assessed against Craven of the Canucks. So the Winnipeg power play will go to work at a very opportune time. 4:38 to play, third period. Jets down by a goal. Shannon, Selanne, Steen, the forwards for the Jets.
You see Pat Quinn shaking his head. He couldn't see any of that. That was down in the corner to the left of the Canuck bench. There's no way they could see that. So he didn't know that that was a good call by Paul Dvorsky.
And the Jets will start the man advantage just outside their own zone. Housley will come over to take the face-off against Anatoly Semenov. Semenov wins the draw. That's about the third in a row that he's won for the Canucks. Essenza leaves it for Housley. Ahead to Shannon, intercepted by the Canucks and cleared down the ice. 1:42 remaining in the Winnipeg power play. 4:17 in the third period. This is Olsen starting things out for Winnipeg. Olsen shoots it in. McLean to Lume. Lume tries to clear, can't. Olsen keeps it in. Thomas Steen has it for the Jets. Back to the point. Olsen, first time shot Solani, and it hits some traffic in front. Olsen. Steen moving in. Gets the shot away wide. Bure clears it for the Canucks. 3:40 remaining third period. 1 minute remaining in the penalty to Craven as Bure goes down but is able to clear it into the Jet zone. Canucks changing. Housley at center ice. Dumps it in right side. Jamnov goes in and gets the shot away. McLean makes the save. Babbage clears it down the ice for the Canucks.
One of the few shoot-ins that McLean couldn't get to, but he made sure he was square to Jamnov and made the save.
30 seconds remaining in the penalty to Murray Craven as the Jets dump it in. 3:02 remaining third period as the Canucks are able to clear again. Essenza comes out to leave it for Teppo Numminen. Numminen at his own blue line. Dumps it in right side. Merson plays it off the glass but doesn't clear the zone. Housley keeps it in. Tkachuk behind the net for the Jets. Comes in front and McLean makes the save and has to go down to cover up on Keith Tkachuk.
And then Dana Merson came piling into Tkachuk right on top of his goaltender, but McLean looks to be all right. The Jets again with the man advantage couldn't get the quality scoring chances. Here's Tkachuk on a wraparound try, and you see Lume go sliding through, and there comes Dana Merson in with the big hit from behind after McLean had stopped the puck and got the whistle.
And once again, the Canucks penalty killing unit has done the job, nullifying the power play chance for the Winnipeg Jets. 2:37 to go. Third period. Canucks 2, Jets 1. Adams and Momesso scoring the goals for Vancouver. Keith Tkachuk with his second of the playoffs, counting for the Winnipeg Jets. The faceoff to the left of Kirk McLean. Thomas Steen against Murray Craven. Linden and Diddick cheating a bit on the edge of the faceoff circle. Spotted by the linesman. The Canucks win another faceoff in their own zone. Babbage plays it off the boards, but not out. Numminen keeps it in with a backhander. Thomas Steen behind the goal. And it's tipped into the neutral ice area by Trevor Linden. Courtnall going against Olsen one-on-one. Bit of a misplay there by the Jets in their own zone, but it doesn't cost them anything. 2:12 to play. Third period. This is Courtnall. Gets the shot away. Essenza made the save and then had to look for the rebound. Fortunately for Essenza, the puck dropped right at his skates.
And then Courtnall took a whack at his glove, and that's why Fredrik Olofsson went over. Courtnall wasn't really a factor in Game 3. He's been a little better tonight, but not nearly as good as he was in Games 1 and 2. Here's the shot. And watch Courtnall as Essenza gets his glove on it. There's Courtnall trying to poke it free. And that's why Olofsson reacted. 2:04 left, and Teemu Selanne, who was out for the full 2 minutes of the power play, is back on the ice for the Winnipeg Jets. And Alexei Jamnov has had another frustrating night for Winnipeg. Played a lot. He's played more than Teemu Selanne, and he just can't get it untracked.
They're doing a little repair to the ice behind the Canucks line. This is the second time tonight that they've had trouble with the ice in that area. They're starting the Yahoos here at the arena in Winnipeg. Usually gets the fans involved in the game. Not that there's any need for that. They've been involved since the opening face-off. White noise has once again been prominent here at the Winnipeg Arena.
And although it's been a wide territorial edge for the Winnipeg Jets here in the third period. The Canucks have done a good job in their own zone, and you look at quality scoring chances, there hasn't been very many.
Shots on goal, 28-20, favor the Winnipeg Jets with 2:02 to play in the third period. Bob Essenza having words with Paul Dvorsky, and now they're pointing to the scoreboard clock. Kept in by Lume, dumped in. Semenoff there for the Canucks working against Housley. This is Bure behind the Jets goal. That is shot back to the point. Lume couldn't keep it in. Then Lume turns and shoots it back in. 1:42 to play, third period. Canucks 2, Jets 1. Game number 4. Here's a chance. Solani shot, saved by McLean. Jamnov had a shot at the rebound, but wasn't able to get any sort of wood on it at all. Solani working in from the corner. Pass in front, shot, and another save in front. Good pressure from the Winnipeg Jets late in the third period. Bure, 2-on-1. Passes to Mercer. Shot, scores! The net was empty, and Dana Merson found it.
With Bob Essenza on the bench, the Winnipeg Jets had to take the chance. Phil Housley pinched in, had a good scoring opportunity on Kirk McLean. But McLean again made the save. They turned it around, and Dana Merson gets the empty netter. Here's the save on Solani, and look at Jamnov. Misses the rebound. And watch this save on Phil Housley. He pinches in. Solani spots him, throws it across to Housley. And look at Kirk McLean. Slide across, stack the pads, make the save. And then the Canucks break out. 2-on-1 on Teppo Numminen. Bure to Merson. Empty netter.
As a defenseman, you like to see that when you're coming down the left side all alone, and there's no goaltender to beat. It's just a big, gaping, empty net. What a big goal it is for the Canucks. Dana Merson, his first of the playoffs, coming with 1:15 remaining to play in the third period.
And the Vancouver Canucks have to be proud of the way they played tonight. They played a disciplined style. They were talking about all the giveaways they had in Game 3. In the first period, we were keeping track of turnovers. They only had 1 turnover in their own zone. And especially here in the third period, even though they were protecting that lead, they didn't cough up the real quality scoring chances. The best scoring chances happened in the last 30 seconds when the Jets had an extra man on.
Well, you heard Robert Dirk say to Ken Daniels in the second period intermission that if the Canucks continue to play disciplined hockey, he felt they could win this one. 3-1. Canucks leading the Jets. 1:15 to play in game number 4. Lidster backhands it to Hunter. Dumped in by Numminen. Lidster goes behind his own goal. Plays it off the boards. Solani being watched by Babbage. Left for Craven. Craven just scoops it out into the neutral zone, but it winds up in the crowd.
The net's still empty as the Winnipeg Jets started with the net empty after that goal. And they're trying to play it deep in the Canucks zone, but with only 52 seconds left, and the way the Canucks have played here tonight, it's a long uphill battle for the Winnipeg Jets.
This is what the Canucks wanted after they lost Game 3. They wanted a split here in Winnipeg, and it looks as if they're going to get it and head back to Vancouver for Game 5 on Tuesday night with a 3-1 series lead on Winnipeg.
The Winnipeg Jets, you look at the way they scored their goals. Thomas Steen with the setup to Keith Tkachuk, and Teemu Solani, who was such a big factor in Game 3, has not been such a big factor here tonight, and he has played a lot.
Face-off in the Canucks zone. Gary Vaughn gets it out. That net is empty. Dana Merson banks it off the boards. Will it make the net? No. Housley is there to pick it off. Steen ahead to Tkachuk. Merson hits him, but Tkachuk is able to get by the hit. Still struggling to get to the puck. Doesn't. Jets net is empty. 26 to play, third period. And we're going to get a penalty. Dvorsky's got his arm up, and John, you suggested we may see this.
Dana Merzen was going to get the first penalty. Tkachuk came in, and he just elbowed Merzen after the hit on Steen. And then Tkachuk went after Merzen as Merzen was down on the ice. And Tkachuk will go to the dressing room with only 23.7 seconds left. Merzen's going to the penalty box. Oh, he's going to the dressing room also. And he wasn't hurt too badly. He was making sure that the Jets wouldn't have a double power play. Here's how it starts with a scrum in behind. Here's the hit. Merzen's getting the penalty for that one from behind. And look at Tkachuk. He just elbows Merzen down to the ice after the hit on Steen.
So Dana Merzen going over the linesman, and Paul Dvorsky to indicate that maybe a little blood was spilled there, but they're not buying it. Dana Merzen through for the night.
And Paul Dvorsky now is talking these over with Phil Housley. Now watch this hit from behind. Here's where Merzen's getting the first penalty, right there, and you see Dvorsky's arm go up. And then watch Keith Tkachuk. Well, I can't see it on that one. Tkachuk comes in after and elbows Merzen. But with 23 seconds left and the Jets 2 goals down, Tkachuk knew that the discipline wasn't the major factor in this one. A little payback time.
No hesitation on the part of Dvorsky, as you mentioned. As soon as he saw Merzen go in that way, the arm went up immediately.
The out-of-town officials are from Calgary here, and we see the statisticians writing these down. And the timekeepers, although they're being led by the Winnipeg people, the timekeeper is officially from Calgary. So I think we'll have to take back all those things we said about the Homer clock keepers throughout the league. Oh, during the regular season we have
2 minutes for
cross-checking.
To Winnipeg's number 7, Keith Tkachuk. 2 minutes for cross-checking and 2 minutes for roughing. Time of the penalties, 19.
That's about as animated as you're going to see John Paddock. He is angry.
And Tkachuk jumped on Merzen when he was down. I think he probably would have only gotten a 2 for elbowing or roughing. Had he not jumped on Merzen when he was down, he came back and jumped on Merzen, and he gets the extra 2.
All this coming at 19:36 of the third period, with the Canucks enjoying a 2-goal lead, 3-1. The Jets' goal is empty. Dana Merzen had the third goal for Vancouver, an empty netter.
I talk about the off-ice officials, that the goal judges, the timekeepers, the statisticians. And you look at Pat Quinn, this one is in control. He's not too animated about it. Face-off deep in the Canucks zone, as that all happened after a whistle. You will have to wonder whether Pat Quinn will be the coach next year of this Vancouver team. If they don't win the Stanley Cup this year, Steve, do you think he'll be back as the coach of the Vancouver Canucks?
If I were a wagering type of person, I would say no. I don't think Pat will be back. I think he'll concentrate on his duties as president and GM of the Vancouver Canucks Hockey Club. And whether or not Ricky Lee becomes the head coach, I guess, is open to speculation.
I don't think there's any doubt that Ricky Lee will be the next head coach of the Vancouver Canucks whenever Pat Quinn decides to concentrate. As we look at Ricky Lee behind the bench, he did a good job with the Hartford Whalers, and they really went downhill after Ricky Lee left. He was a disciplinarian. They weren't pleased with the Ron Francis deal, but Ricky Lee didn't personally make that deal. And then Ricky Lee was ousted after they had a pretty successful season for a team with limited talent.
23.7 seconds remain to play third period. Housley gets the puck, plays it off the boards to Thomas Steen. Steen in front to Housley. Housley tried to redirect it. Back to Steen. This is Teppo Numminen. His shot goes off the leg of the Canuck defenseman in front, Gerald Diddick. A chance for Murray Craven with the empty net, and he's going to fire it wide.
An icing call against Vancouver with a 2-goal lead. Craven decided why not go for it. And now the fans here are littering the ice. I don't think we'll bother to scrape this off. 0.8 seconds left on the clock. I think the officials will just drop this one and get the players off the ice and head to Vancouver for Game 5.
This one is over. The horn goes here at the Winnipeg Arena as the Canucks defeat the Jets 3-1 to take a 3-1 series lead heading back to the Pacific Coliseum in Game 5 on Tuesday night.
A very solid, disciplined game by Pat Quinn's team. He talked about it after Game 3 that his team made a lot of foolish mistakes. Robert Dirk talked about it with Ken, how they time and space. They gave Teemu Selanne so much time and space. Here in Game 4, the Jets, although they controlled territorially, didn't have the quality scoring chances on Kirk McLean. Good defensive effort by Pat Quinn's team.
So the Canucks win a big one on the road here at the Winnipeg Arena, 3-1 to take a 3-1 series lead back home to the Pacific Coliseum.
Hey, man, what do you want to do?
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe finish high school. In college. Wife. House. Kids. Bowl on Wednesdays. Work off the old gut. Make middle management. I hang it up and head on down to Miami. Buy some white shoes and pants come up to my chest and complain about the government full time.
No, man. I mean, what do you want to do this afternoon?
Oh. The beach. I love it!
Every hour, this man rigorously tests Chevy Cavaliers to make sure you get the best car possible. Canada's best-selling car for 3 years running. Now comes with great leasing and financing options.
And our Molson 3 stars tonight, not much doubt about star number 1 in a 3-1 Vancouver victory. Kirk McLean, who stopped 29 shots. Star number 2, Thomas Steen. And the third star, Jyrki Lumi from the Vancouver Canucks. A strong game defensively. Basically all the Vancouver Canucks played very well defensively. And with me now, the game's number 1 star, just got in, Kirk McLean. A great performance tonight. Congratulations. This thing's really turned around now, heading home up 3-1. This was the big one.
Well, you know, we knew if we can come in here and steal a game, you know, obviously it'd be in our favor going back home up 3-1. But we still got the 4th one to win. You know, we came back last year from 3-1, so we're not going to go out and take it lightly by all means.
Now, what changed it in this game, the game plan coming in after losing Game 3?
Well, I think we got away from our discipline a little bit in the way we played in the first 2 games. Game 3, we got mixed up in the little scrimmages after the whistle, and maybe got frustrated a little bit by a couple of penalties here and there. We got to just you know, play the game when the whistle blows, line up for the face-off, and play a good disciplined game.
You know, after Game 3, all the Winnipeg Jets were talking about the white noise, and they hear the horns out here before the game. You must hear it in your dressing room too, obviously. What does it do to you?
Well, we try to either blank it out as much as we can or use it to our own advantage. You know, they have some excited fans and some good fans here. They really support their team really well, and it shows obviously with the whiteout and the noise they make for 60 minutes. So, you know, it makes it for an exciting game, not only for the players but for the fans.
Your fans will respond the same way, you hope?
Well, I think they will. There's no doubt. We have good fans in Vancouver, as they do here, and you know, I know that they're going to rise to the occasion on Tuesday.
You want to talk about noise, and I know this series is far from over because you have to win one more, but the Chicago Blackhawks losing in 4 straight to the St. Louis Blues. Does it make any teams road easier, a bit easier going through St. Louis rather than Chicago?
I don't think so at all. You know, St. Louis is a good defensive hockey team, and you know the type of offensive players that they have on the team that can score goals for them. So, you know, it doesn't surprise me. You know, they're a hard-working side, and they play a disciplined hockey game, and you know, from the games that I saw, they certainly worked really hard.
Well, Kirk McLean, best of luck to you. I know you and the Vancouver Canucks have one more to win, but then it could be St. Louis next.
Thanks very much.
Kirk McLean, the game's number 1 star, who stopped 29 shots on the night in a 3-1 victory over the Jets to take a 3-1 series lead. Molson Hockey Night in Canada continues in a moment.
Beauty and the Beast, the ultimate adventure. Will the princess escape, or is her fate?
It keeps going and going. Energizer. Absolutely nothing lasts longer.
Pick a place where the music's hot, the company's cool, and the fun never stops. So when you're...
It keeps going and going. Energizer. Absolutely nothing lasts longer.
These days, a lot of people think Chrysler is #1. But at Chrysler, we know better. That's why our #1 sales event is all about you.
Back here at the Winnipeg Arena, Vancouver Canucks beating the Jets 3-1 to take a 3-1 series lead over Winnipeg. Certainly, as we just heard and saw the man, Kirk McLean, he was a big story tonight, but basically the Vancouver Canucks played very disciplined hockey. And with their thoughts on this game this evening, let's go upstairs and bring in Steve Armitage and John Garrett.
Thank you, Kenny. The men to my left picked Kirk McLean as the first star. You goaltenders really stick together, don't you?
I thought he really controlled the game. And although his team in front of him played very well in a disciplined game, those 2 saves in the first period, one on Solani and one on Thomas Steen, I thought they turned that game around. It was 1-0 at the time, just after the Canucks scored. And he came up with those 2 big saves. And after that, I thought every time the Jets shot it in, Kirk McLean was there either to handle the puck or make the big save. And I think that was the difference in the game. The Canucks didn't take any foolish penalties. Kirk talked about it. They weren't pushing after the whistles and didn't give Paul Dvorsky an opportunity. Other than the third period and a couple of calls that were kind of questionable, they didn't take any stupid penalties.
Well, we suggested before the game began that if the Canucks were going to take white noise out of this game, they had to score early, and that's exactly what they did. Greg Adams opening the scoring for the Vancouver Canucks, and the goal coming at the 2:16 mark.
Now you watch Greg Adams rolling puck, the wrist shot. He is a natural goal scorer, fires everything at the net, and he beats Bob Essens, as Essens was fooled from in close. And here's the second one. Now you look at Sergio Momesso, the Jets defense. Talk about giveaways and just lack of thinking. There's a mental error. Both defensemen get turned around. They don't look for a man, and Momesso is able to creep in and beat Bob Essens. And then Keith Tkachuk with the rolling puck again beats Kirk McLean, and you can see it's fluttering as it goes into the far side. But the quality of scoring chances the Jets had, I'd say it would be less than 10 over the course of the game.
Discipline, I thought, again, besides Kirk McLean, the big difference in this one.
And you look at the defense, how they played tonight. Gerald Diddick, without Robert Dirk, they played very well. Dave Babbage had another strong night. Jyrki Lume. Doug Lidster had a couple of giveaways, but in his own zone, he was very good.
The final score, once again, here at the arena in Winnipeg, 3-1. Favor the Canucks. They go back home to Pacific Coliseum, leading the series 3-1. More on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC in just a moment.
For those who like to spend lots of time and effort cleaning, shining, and protecting your tires, this is going to be difficult to watch. Because with no-touch tire care, you don't need to rub or wipe your tires to make them look great. It's true. You just spray it on and leave it alone. No touching. Now, we know it's hard, but you've got to fight it. Come on, you can do it. That's good. No-touch tire care. The right touch is no touch.
You can go as far as your heart can see. Be on any road that you want to be. It's your day. You're on your way.
At Esso, we never lose sight of what's most important to you.
You're on your way with Esso. It's your day. You're on your way.
Welcome back to Winnipeg Arena, where the Vancouver Canucks have beaten the Winnipeg Jets by a final score of 3-1, and with that, the Vancouver Canucks head back to Pacific Coliseum with a 3-1 series lead. Lots of action around the NHL today as the playoffs continued. At Maple Leaf Gardens, the Leafs beating the Detroit Red Wings by a final score of 3-2. Dave Andreychuk with 2 for the Maple Leafs. Mark Osborne, the game winner. Some concern in Toronto for a little while as Doug Gilmour was slashed by Mark Howe late in that third period. In fact, the 2 Red Wings were gone in this hockey game. Sergei Fedorov, along with Steve Chason, for major stick infractions. But in the end, the Leafs beat Detroit 3-2. 2, and Doug Gilmour was okay. Mark Osborne with the game winner. So the scene now shifts back to Joe Louis Arena. This series all tied up at 2. Meantime, no more hockey for the Chicago Blackhawks. Curtis Joseph was good enough today, and the St. Louis Blues, thanks to Craig Janney's overtime goal, beat Chicago by a final score of 4-3 as the St. Louis Blues move on and await the winner now of Detroit and Toronto. Darryl Sutter and the Blackhawks, in a shock, are gone in 4 straight games. Brett Hall with 2 today as the St. Louis Blues power play continues to click. At New Jersey, the Devils stay alive, beating the Pittsburgh Penguins by a 4-1 final. Claude Lemieux with a couple of goals. Dave Barr, John McClain, an excellent job tying up Mario Lemieux all afternoon. So the Devils and Penguins, they will play Game 5 tomorrow night in Pittsburgh. And this afternoon, the other Smythe Division semifinal, all tied up at 2 apiece as the Los Angeles Kings down Calgary 3-1 as this series shifts back to the Saddledome, all even at 2. Our final score here, the Vancouver Canucks beating the Winnipeg Jets by a final score of 3-1. Our Molson 3 stars, Kirk McLean, star number 1, Thomas Steen, star number 2, Jyrki Lumi of the Vancouver Canucks, star number 3, as the Vancouver Canucks win it by a final score of 3-1. Tomorrow night, Adams Division semifinal continues coast to coast. Montreal at Quebec, Game 5, 6:30 Central, 4:30 Pacific. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and good night.
I watch Venture on Sunday night on CBC. That program has done something that has never been done before. You know, business has always been reported either as a kind of a capital crime where all businessmen are crooks, or you have the Chamber of Commerce approach where all businessmen are saints, and neither is true. What Venture has done is turn them into human beings. That's important because business is not just about making money. Business is part of the Canadian culture.
Television, to me, it's a medium of now. At its best, it's what's happening now.
Solution.
And the CBC is able to convey right now whatever is happening to an Innu community in Newfoundland to the whole country, 5,000 miles across. Maybe we all know that that's what a network does. But I don't think that is something that should be taken for granted. I think it's a marvel that it happens.
Hockey Night in Canada on CBC was brought to you by Molson Special Dry, the evolution of beer. By Imperial Oil and Esso Associates, proud to be one of the leading sponsors of youth hockey in Canada. And by Pepsi, gotta have it. CBC Sports, home of the champions.
This is CBC, Public Broadcasting.
A nation of explorers. A country of seekers. We are unique and different, yet we share common dreams. A remarkable quest. A Canadian perspective. For news about our community, our province, our country, turn to the CBC Evening News. 24 hours with Sandra Lewis, weeknights at 6.
I'll chase them anywhere. This time is fair. Let me share this home.
Winnipeg has a big new talent who's ready for the big time. Get your front row seat Tuesday on 24 Hours.
Water. We take it for granted. Turn on the tap and it's there at our fingertips. But imagine a world without clean water. Help Ducks Unlimited conserve our planet's water. Call 1-800-665-DUCK.